We're live.
No, we're not live yet. That was bad. Okay, ready?
It's got to be words.
Keep this in. All right. Do you think where the name is at? Do you think where the name is at? The name's on the front again. It's on the front. And the name is right on the front. The name is right on the front. The name's right on the front. Where is it? The name's on the front.
Is that Homecoming?
It was. Yeah. Not bad. I mean,
That was good.
I was trying to get a little creative with it.
That was pretty good.
Cool.
Um,
Thanks, Kanye.
if you're watching this on YouTube, smash subscribe.
Yeah.
We also have a clips channel. It's linked to the main channel. If you don't like our 9 and 30-minute podcast, you can watch 7-minute clips. Hit subscribe on that. At Name on Front Pod, Twitter and Instagram. Give us a follow on there. Ooh. And make fun of us in the comments. We're asking for it. No
This
one's
guy's got
come-
purple hair. Like, come on.
Give us
Man,
some
it is
good
hot
tips.
under these lights.
It is.
We need
I'm sweaty.
Is the AC on?
It's on.
Oh.
All right. Well, let's get into it, boys. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of things going on. Whoa, it signed me out.
Pretty crazy day yesterday.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
sports world.
And rightfully so.
Well, where do you want to
Let's
start with that?
talk about it. Yeah, you know what? I was sitting there in bed around 4:30 and I was like,
PM?
yeah.
Yeah, as
Well,
you
I mean, no, I hang out in my room. Like,
Okay, I know.
that's where I sit on my bed. I wasn't just
right.
waking up, folks. All right, I have a life. It's not a good one, but I have a life. So I was sitting on my bed around 4:30. I'm ready to throw on Bucks Mavs, and I get to the game, and it's Magic. Sorry,
okay.
I got Luca on the brain.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. So I'm ready to watch the Bucks Magic game, and I just read on the ticker, Bucks players potentially sitting out for this game, and then it all just kind of snowballed, and then the Magic were sitting out, and then it was official Bucks Magic game. It wasn't happening, and then a couple hours later, the Houston game with OKC got canceled, which we kind of thought so because Chris Paul was the head of the Players Association. It would look pretty bad if he didn't opt out as well. Not opt out, just
Not join.
join the boycott as they're calling it, even though it's pretty much a strike.
Yeah, it's
at
not
this
really a
point.
boycott.
Yeah,
It kind of felt similar to the same kind of vibes, like different reasons, obviously, but the same kind of vibes as when they found out that Rudy had COVID. Like, just things started like snowballing.
Yeah.
Like very quickly.
And like
It
nobody
seemed
really knew what was happening. I guess like
Mark Cuban's getting like
Yeah.
notifications on the sideline of his games
Yeah.
and freaking
Yeah.
out. That was a good picture. I like that.
I
Seeing
think
that.
that was March 11th when that happened. Those are two very like where were you moments. They kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, like two moments you'll kind of always remember where you were when those happened.
So we just got before we started this, we just got some news. I don't know if you want to break it, Aaron.
This is the news desk. The NBA, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, is continuing.
Wow.
After a day of boycotts, which today we are filming on Thursday, which means the Raptors and the Celtics game was scheduled for today, but it will still not be happening. He says, this is Adrian Wojnarowski talking, he says that it will be continuing probably on the weekend, but that's speculation. We're not really too sure when, but for anybody out there worried, the NBA will be continuing, but more importantly, the fight for justice will also be continuing, just behind the scenes.
Something.
So, Mike,
obviously-
run us through this meeting because you've been following it pretty closely. Run us through what was happening at this meeting that happened between the NBA teams.
My understanding is like all the players, I think, had a meeting. Like all teams.
I think everybody in the bubble was invited.
Even
to it,
like the
I think.
refs, the coaches.
Yeah. Well, like the refs showed up later. and
Like after they postponed all the games, it was later at night, like 9, 10 p.m. ish. I think it was. And from what's been reported, the Clippers and the Lakers both voted. They every team voted whether or not they wanted to continue playing. They voted no, and then a debate sparked, and apparently LeBron just like walked out. Like he said no and just left the meeting. And then the Clippers were in agreement. Apparently, their leader in the meeting was Patrick Beverley. The Lakers was LeBron. Other things that happened. Apparently, Kyle Korver issued an apology to the league because people were a little upset about the Bucks not telling everyone before.
That to me made it a little bit more effective though. Like the fact that nobody else knew.
It was more of a surprise. I could kind of see the Magic kind of being you kind of made us look silly, but I mean
I'm on the side. I'm on the side of anybody that's gonna be looking down on the Magic for this, you're missing the big picture here. It has nothing to do with that. The Magic, obviously they complied when they found out about it. It's just you can't do what you don't know what's going on.
And I think it's a lot more you're right. I think it's a lot more effective something like that when you don't if you let people know before it's premeditated. When you just do it and people are holy shit, they're just not coming out of the locker room.
Also, this happened in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of other things on their mind. I think you were saying they had the Attorney General of the state of Wisconsin on the line.
They talked to them.
Yeah. So they were dealing with other things. Yeah. If they didn't have a chance to get the message over to Orlando, sure, you can judge them for that, but I don't. I think it's they had a lot of other things going on, bigger things than being messenger boy and letting everybody know. They found out eventually, and that's all that matters. Everybody's on the same page. That's what matters.
So after LeBron left, apparently it was just mass confusion. Everyone was kind of wondering. Then Udonis Haslem.
Where's the king?
This is all what's been reported. Apparently, the Udonis Haslem spoke up after and said if the Clippers and Lakers aren't playing, the season's over. No one else is playing.
Which I don't think you can have a legitimate season.
Well, you want to talk about asterisks? Two of the top two you're canceling the season at that point.
Yeah.
If you're any other team, you're this is not worth it anymore. But then today we get the news that you just broke. So I'm assuming back in the background something happened. The owners maybe came up with some action plan, or maybe it was just a decision by LeBron to be we're not messing around here.
I think
so. I saw it. Sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, I think I think something's probably going to come out that the owners they're going to make. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I think they probably did something. But I also think it just things were running. Tensions were so high yesterday that I think people just kind of calm down a little bit. They had time to step back and think about things maybe a little bit more, because I think if you're in the moment like that, things were clearly very heated in that meeting. And I think maybe they had a chance to think about how impactful it is to actually still have this platform. And it's because the only reason you have the ability to boycott or strike like this is because you have that platform and you can send that message out that way. So I think just having the ability to do that still holds a lot of value.
I think there was a lot of guys who kind of were, because I know when the George Floyd thing happened, there was a lot of guys, but Jaylen Brown was he was very involved, he was protesting every day, and then when this next thing happened, he tweeted that day, and he's I wish I was not in this bubble and I could be out there protesting.
Yeah,
so I think there was a lot of guys who were
apparently the Raptors and the Celtics kind of started the snowball effect.
Well, Fred and Norm both talked about leaving. They were we might just leave.
I think, and Jaylen Brown actually said, I saw a quote from him, I can't remember if it was last night or today, but essentially what he said is if he stood up in that meeting and said to the guys who are thinking about leaving, are you leaving because you don't want to be here because you're bored?
Yeah, he's don't just leave.
If you leave, make sure you go and do something after. Do not just leave here because you're sick of being isolated in a bubble.
Right.
Okay, I was looking for who said this. So this is Ryan Clark. This is his take on the entire situation. I thought it was an interesting take. It might have an effect on why the playoffs are still going. But essentially what he said is that the platform that these players have is only really effective while what they're doing to have that platform is going on. So during the NBA playoffs, if Doc Rivers, after a game while everybody's watching the playoffs, come in and see the press conference, and he's spitting truth about the situation, spitting speaking his mind about the situation, it might have more gravity than if Doc Rivers showed up to a protest and spoke from the protest. I'm not saying that he's right. I just thought it was an interesting take.
Well, I think there's definitely something to that.
Yeah,
I think more people are going to be watching the NBA playoffs than are going to be watching a protest, whether that's right or wrong.
And I think you're going to have more people who are maybe I don't want to say like more, you're going to get more people to join your cause. I think if you're doing it, you're going to reach more people who you want to reach.
A protest is easier to turn a blind eye to than a basketball game that you would be watching anyways.
That's what I was trying to say.
A protest, like you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Like anyone who's against what you're doing isn't going to be watching the protest.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have people who disagree with you watching sports.
Yep.
Sports like there's no real political wall when it comes to sports, right? Like it crosses the spectrum. So you're going to reach more people who may disagree with you.
Yeah. And then you also have influential people like Pop who've been saying this the entire time, right? He needs to maintain his platform. I could see him going out to a protest, but exactly the same thing. I couldn't see it having as much of effect or like even be in the news as much as it would be if he's talking to a sideline reporter after the game and ignoring. I mean, he's not in the bubble anymore.
No, but
obviously, but I was using him as an example because he's been like vocal, very vocal.
Yeah, and he's been doing it for a while.
Yeah. So, anyways, I just thought I'd bring up that take by Ryan Clark it was actually on First Take. Just shout out to First Take. Sorry if I'm stealing your thunder.
They're gonna be so mad.
We just have a bigger audience.
Yeah, they're gonna be pissed.
But no, yeah. So I just thought that was an interesting take, and it was something I hadn't really thought of because immediately when the protests happened, I was like, right on.
Yeah.
Like that video was insane that I saw.
Oh yeah.
And like there's so many situations that don't get caught on video, obviously, that we wouldn't be able to protest against, but now that it's in front of our faces and everybody's kind of seen it, it's kind of similar to it's almost different than the George Floyd though. Like the George Floyd situation was like, this one was just like pure like, whoa, what the fuck? Where the George Floyd situation, you were watching a man literally like pass away over 8 minutes.
Well,
and it was just like, so like it hits you on both sides because it's like it doesn't just happen one way. These things it's systemic and like it needs to be stopped like ASAP.
The thing that's kind of crazy too is I found like I feel like I'm like almost desensitized to these.
Yeah.
Like I watch that and then I'm like, oh yeah, like that's pretty crazy. But then like later I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that's like fucking. You just saw a guy get shot in the back 7 times.
Well,
that's
like one of the main arguments from people that were saying like, what was his name, Officer Chavin or something?
I don't know. Oh
Floyd,
yeah. So that's police protocol. The knee on the neck is like to subdue them, right? That's what some people were actually saying,
which it is,
which is insane. Yeah. But like this just goes to show it doesn't just happen that way.
Oh yeah.
Like this is something systemic. This is something that happens, and there's obviously a common denominator, which is their skin color.
And the kids being in the car makes it like.
Yeah,
that takes it to another level.
Yeah. So I'm glad that something's being done. The fan in me is also glad that NBA's back, but I'm glad that the NBA is going to be playing for something now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
like they have a message that they're going to be pushing the entire time, and it's a message that's completely valid. And I really respect the players for kind of forcing the owner's hands, forcing the network's hands to talking about this. And I think it's really important. And I say a lot about LeBron, but he is the leader of this league. And him having such a hard stance on this is very important.
And you've seen...
it's very important.
The league has grown a lot, I think, since he came into the league on stuff like this. And I think a lot of that comes back to him. Yeah. Like, just how outspoken he's been about...
I hate him on the court. I love him off the court. Let's just say that. Because I only hate him because he beats the Raptors all the time. He's LeBronto. Like, that's the only reason. But... I'm glad that he's been able to have this platform and speak his mind because he's a powerful voice with a lot of influence, and him saying this is very important. So
I do think that like the NBA too, like the league has maybe gotten a little too much credit about like it's the league is meeting the players' demands. Like even the stuff with like, oh, we're gonna let you put like the message on your shirt, but it's got to be one of these. It's like you can say what you want on our terms. So I think the players were
it was just very corporate of them.
Yeah. So it's like
it's like the HR department has run through the appropriate things to say on the back of your shirt, and that's what you need to say.
The players get the credit here, not the league. The league is doing it because the players are demanding it.
The league is reactionary to the players' feelings and not the other way around. Like not the way it should be, I guess. I don't know.
So baseball, the Brewers.
Are we moving on?
Well, we're just going to go through all the boycott stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the Brewers, again, Milwaukee team, this happened in Wisconsin, so they said we're not going to play either. There was a few early MLB games yesterday, but then all the late games got postponed. The Jays played. Apparently, the Jays are. I just saw a quote from Charlie Montoya. They played a day. He said that we're going to discuss whether or not we play. So MLB, I think the early games, they kind of were still processing what was going on. Then they canceled the later ones. NHL catching a lot of flack.
Well, the NFL also, a lot of training camps were like put on hold for the day. I saw the Lions definitely.
The Cardinals did today,
Cardinals
too.
boycotted today. So there's moves being made on all fronts from all four.
MLS, WNBA, both canceled their games.
Did you
the
see
WTA
that?
did too. The tennis.
I forget
the
which team
tennis.
it was, but did you see like they spelt out like Jacob Blake on the front of their shirts, and then they turned around and there were 7 holes in each one of their backs?
No,
I
the
forget which
WNBA.
WNBA team.
WNBA.
I forget which WNBA team did it, but I just off the top of my head, like some of the things that teams are doing to like send a message.
A few things in baseball that stood out to me, which, so Jason Hayward opted out. He decided not to play, and the Cubs continued to play. The same thing happened with Matt Kemp and the Rockies. That to me is crazy, especially for a team or a league that has been so kind of like unwritten rules. Like standing behind your teammates kind of seems like that should be an unwritten rule.
Definitely.
Right.
Like, and if you like, I don't know. It just that was definitely really frustrating for me to see that.
It's just so hard in the United States right now.
Oh yeah.
With how divisive all politics has become. And it's really unfortunate that people allow their personal, even political beliefs.
Yeah, like this shouldn't be a political issue.
Yeah, they allow their red tie or blue tie to cloud their vision on what like the idea of humanity is. You know what I mean? Like that's humanity. It should not be political. It should just be like ethical and moral.
Yep.
Like it's insane to me that these things overlap because they shouldn't at all. It should just be like standard. Like okay. People are getting shot.
Stop.
And it needs to stop.
Every issue is like you pick a side.
Yeah,
like,
it's tribal. It's tribal bullshit. And it's like, oh, he's wearing a red tie, so I like what he said. Like, no, like you should just like, what did he say? Analyze it. Do you actually like it? Does it fit into your moral code? Does it fit into your ethical beliefs? Yes or no? It shouldn't be like, oh well, yeah, but because it's always the what up. It's the whataboutisms. It's like Trump says something like, yeah, but what about Biden? He put people in jail. Like, who gives a fuck about Biden? Who gives a fuck about Trump? Like, what's going on right now is bigger than that shit.
And that's kind of the thing, too. I know I've seen a couple people say this because get out and vote has been a big thing. But a lot of like people are like, this isn't like if Joe Biden's the president, this isn't stopping.
No.
It might be better, but it's not like this isn't going away in November.
Yeah, it can't. It's not a quick fix.
No,
like people are looking for a quick fix, and it's not.
This has been 200 years. This has been going on for.
So do you think the heat that the NHL was catching? Do you think that's deserved? Like I think they probably at least that late game they should have just postponed.
Yeah,
like just postpone the game. Like
in the moment, I was kind of like,
you're in a tough spot, but just take a hint. I think. Don't do that thing they did where they're like, we're gonna have a moment of reflection. Like
the statement was crazy.
Don't do something or don't.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers. We don't need thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, there's a Facebook profile.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
Like I think,
but
if I was running the league, I would have been like, you're not playing. I would have been nice if one of the players was like, it's just a bad look. It's just like you're like all this other stuff's going on, and like everyone in your league's like, well, I don't know, we don't really see what's going on over there. Like, I think it's nice when a league, if the NHL does it, I think it carries weight because it's like these are all white people.
Yeah. A lot of the baseball stuff kind of had that same weight behind it.
Right.
Yesterday,
where it's like,
like
these are all. It's like I don't know. I'm sure there was a few black guys on the teams that played yesterday, but it's still like 95% white.
Like, there wouldn't have been
it
many.
would be like,
Maybe
all these white guys are doing this. Like that carries weight.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been nice.
And it just comes across like it doesn't.
Well, the NHL is just they're notorious for like acting slow on this kind of thing.
That's what I don't know if you saw what Matt Dumba said yesterday. So the NHL is always last to the party on things like this, which is a perfect way to sum it up.
Like on
the coronavirus boycott?
No. They had that like you can play thing with like supporting like if we had a gay player. They were like
LGBT,
ahead. They were ahead on that.
Yeah, a lot of that comes back to Brian Burke too because he's been really.
I guess he pushed that.
He was very forthright, I guess, in
Yeah.
his beliefs for that.
Like, I would say they were first to the party on that. Out of all
Yeah.
the leagues.
Yeah, I
I'd
don't
say
remember going back, but they were. You're right. They were definitely very.
They were not last. Let's
No.
just
Yeah.
say that. They weren't last to that party. But you know what? The NHL needs to do more. They need to talk about how they can do more. I mean, if the NBA is going to continue, sure, the NHL can continue their games. It was just a bad look optically last night
Yeah,
when
they
everyone
can't-
else was canceling and they were the only show on TV. Almost, I hate to be a cynic, but it almost looked like, let's get our ratings up for the night.
That's like what
Yeah.
it's. That's the optics,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, like it doesn't look good.
like it's almost like, oh, this is our chance.
We're the only show in town. now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know, I don't know. It just kind of seems like you gotta, like, they definitely can't play tonight. I don't think, right? Like,
Well,
with the NBA not playing. Yeah, I don't think the NHL can play
I
tonight.
think they are, though.
As far as I know,
haven't
they
heard
are.
anything.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything otherwise, but I don't think they should play tonight now
Yeah.
because you kind of have a chance where if you don't play tonight, you can at least play the we didn't
first
have enough
of-
time card, or it was a tough situation card. But if you played tonight, all that goes out the
First
window.
game's at 7,
So
they got
there's-
a lot of time.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't know, but MLB, like, they haven't announced if they're not playing today.
Yeah.
They've just said that they've had discussions. We'll have to see what happens. Do we want to move?
NBA's or the MLB's in a bit of a different situation to it. I don't know. Like this is it's obviously bigger than this, but they need to fit a ton of games in to the
And they're
tight
not
schedule.
they're not in a bubble, so
Yeah,
it's not
and
easy. Like when you're in a bubble, I feel like it's easy to
you
just,
just
be like,
push the date
you're like,
back.
no games
Yeah.
tonight. Like
because
we're just pushing it.
they've
Yeah.
already lost a ton of games due to their
right which
ridiculous
shouldn't
handling of the
really-
COVID stuff.
shouldn't
And again, this is
matter,
obviously way bigger than that, but that definitely plays into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it's easier for the NHL and the NBA to just not play, and it. Yeah.
So do we want to move on to?
I mean, yeah, we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it in our minds. If anything comes up, I'm gonna be watching all the
He's
prevalent.
wired to the news desk.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching everything. If anything new comes up in terms of the strike or the boycott, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to call it, I will be updating you throughout the hour. But we have a lot to talk about as well. Moving on, there's a lot more. I mean, now that the playoffs are gonna keep going, we should maybe get into the Raptors and Celtics
so
series.
Obviously, going into stuff that's way less important
Yep.
on the scale feels kind of weird.
Yeah.
Moving
It's
into
not
like,
a-
actual
yeah.
games, but
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
we
moving.
only do this once a week.
We're
We have to
moving
do
away
it.
from we're moving away from real life, the real life stuff
To
into
fantasy
the into the distraction land, which is what kind of sports are.
And
so.
yeah, I think that's part of the power that comes with them not playing too. Is
Yeah.
it just takes away the distraction. You don't have the ability to just throw yourself in a basketball game and ignore what's going on.
yeah,
So the game that was supposed to go tonight, it's probably gonna. I'm assuming we'll start either Saturday or Sunday now. At least that's what the Woj tweet alluded to. Raptors Celtics. This should
Scares
be,
me.
Should be a
I'm so
really good
scared.
series.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
so scared.
Lowry, we just still don't know. Hayward is done for the series, so that at least if Lowry can't play, it evens things out a little bit. I still would rather that's not a good trade off for the Raptors if they both can't play.
No.
But
I saw Elvin Williams said there's a 95% chance Kyle Lowry plays.
That was
I don't know
speculation from
He's
a
just-
person who knows him personally.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's just saying like Lowry. Basically, he's like Lowry's tough.
Yeah.
like, but if he's like ankle is completely.
But he
fucked,
talks to Kyle Lowry a lot. Like Alvin,
Yeah.
like they're like.
I guess they're friends.
I don't think he's saying that.
And
willy-nilly.
I think Lowry would have to be like very
Yeah.
hurt to not play.
I think he'll play. I think it's pretty certain he'll play at some point in this series. But how effective he'll be and when that ends up happening, who knows? But
So the one thing the Hayward injury does though is like Boston is not deep at all. They're
no, they play like Brad Wanamaker plays for them.
They're
and,
like Marcus Smart's their one like real like guy who's kind of dangerous off the bench,
Mm-hmm.
and he's now going to be starting. So yeah, off the bench you have like Wanamaker,
Semi Ojale.
the Time Lord Robert Williams.
Do they have Carson Edwards in the bubble?
He's probably he doesn't
Yeah.
play though. Do you know why Robert Williams is called the Time Lord?
No,
Have
I think I've heard you tell me this
because
before.
he like apparently after they drafted him, like he missed his like introductory press conference, and then he missed a flight like early in the season, so they called him the Time Lord.
Is Taco Fall in the bubble right now?
Yeah, I think
He must
so.
be. Yeah, maybe he comes off the bench for a couple minutes.
He's not gonna play.
No.
They got Ojale, They got Grant and Robert Williams
yeah,
and Wanamaker.
yeah.
Like not a very
Like the Raps have Serge Ibaka coming off the bench.
yeah.
Norm.
So
Yeah, like
we've got a strength there. If Lowry isn't playing though, like their starting five is definitely
Much
better
worse.
than ours.
Oh, okay, never mind. I said
So
much worse in terms of
Boston's.
in
Yeah.
terms of like comparatively with when Lowry was in.
and the big thing is these are two of the best defensive teams in the league, but only one of them is a top 5. I think they're 2 top 5 defenses in the league, and one is a top 5 offense, and Boston's the top 5 offense.
Boston,
But our defense is ranked ahead of Boston.
Yes, yeah.
Boston is the only. I think Boston and the Clippers are the only teams in the league that are top 5 in both.
And I think usually a team that's top 5 in both wins the title for whatever that's worth.
So I was reading a preview on The Athletic at Blake Murphy, and he was talking about how like the Raptors' biggest strength on their offense is their transition. Like we've talked about it on here. Like they're not a very good half-court offense. They want to get out and move. But Boston, like their lineup is basically just like these athletic wings. Like you have like Tatum, Brown, Smart. Like Kemba Walker's not a wing, but he can get back quick. So the problem the Raptors had in the bubble game where they got crushed by Boston is they were very good at like getting back and taking away the Raptors in transition. So the Raptors are gonna have to find a way to like either you need to improve your half-court offense. Nick Nurse is gonna come up with some wizardry there, or you got to find a way to get out and run and beat these guys back because that's the advantage the Raptors have is their transition. If they get stuck playing a half-court game, I think Boston has the advantage because they're both good defensively.
Yeah. Nick Nurse, coach of the year, too. I don't know if we talked about that.
We haven't yet.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Nick Nurse.
The way they
We
did that
were,
was really cool. He said he didn't know until they told him on TNT.
Really?
Which is
That's
really cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
And that
They
is
had like
a
his high
high
school
school coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like and
No way.
then Kyle and Fred brought him the award.
That's
like
sweet.
live on the air. So
I was thinking about this too. The other East matchup, which one of you picked? Did you pick the Heat?
yeah.
I think you can make a pretty good case that like the 4 best coaches in the NBA right now are the 4 coaches in the 4 teams left in the East. Like Popovich. I mean,
Steve Kerr,
Doc.
probably Doc, yeah.
I like X's and O's though. Like Spoelstra,
Nurse.
Nurse, and Brad Stevens are notorious, and then Budenholzer is too. Even though last year he kind of got roasted
Did
in the
you-
playoffs for not adjusting.
Did you see? I think it was during one of the Nets games on the broadcast. Matt Devlin said Nick Nurse is everything people wanted Brad Stevens to be,
Yeah, he was. I know.
which was like
He was just
unreal.
roasting
Just an unreal thing to say.
I love it.
Do you think? Okay, the Raptors and the Celtics. They've never played in the playoffs,
I think they're only
which is crazy.
The only team in the
considering
East,
they've both been like in the playoffs the last 5 years.
There's one team I think in the East the Raptors haven't played in the playoffs now, and it's Charlotte. That's the only team in the Eastern Conference they haven't
Really?
played in the playoffs. Yeah.
But there's still always like we've never played them in the playoffs, but there seems like there's still like that rivalry there.
Yeah.
Do you think that just carries over from Leafs Bruins?
Part of
well,
I personally hate every Boston sports
yeah,
team.
but that's what I
Like,
mean. Do you
it's
think
hard
that's just
not
a
to.
As a
carry?
Bills fan, as a Leafs fan, like as a Raptors fan, as a Jays fan,
Yeah. So
like-
do you think it just carries over from that?
I
from-
think that's
part of
just.
it,
I think
for
it's
sure.
city versus city rivalry, and I hate to say it, but I think we have the little brother syndrome on this one.
well, they
they don't think about us.
The last few
I think the only
Yeah.
sport where you can make that exception is maybe the Celtics.
Yeah.
the last
The other two,
is
it's
the
not
last
even close.
yeah.
part of it too. The last few years, it's always been who's like the Raptors have been kind of the premier team in the East over the last like 5 or 10 years.
I think it was like,
Five,
I think I saw it was
Well,
like
it's
the last
Cleveland.
7
Yeah,
over
yeah.
the last 7 years we have the best collective record.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
In the league, not even
Boston's-
just in the
Yeah.
East.
or at least we'll say in the Atlantic Division, the Raps have been the top team in
Well, yeah,
in that
we've
division.
won it 7 years in a row.
Yeah.
or
So
something.
and the Boston's always kind of been the next team to come that like people are waiting for them. Boston and Philly, I guess, are the 2 teams that people are waiting to come and take that from the Raptors.
And
The,
And
the U.S. media is just
Oh yeah,
getting
they're
chops for it.
yeah.
yeah, well, they're gonna get their shot.
Yeah, so that's part of it too, and there's always seems to have been that on court rivalry as well, and then obviously the Leafs Bruins stuff definitely does not hurt in terms of the fan bases.
So 2 young guys, Tatum and Siakam. Is this a new magic bird?
for the Atlantic Division,
Yeah.
maybe. It's the I mean, they're gonna be. I mean, Philly is like rebuilding.
Yeah.
I think so. It's Boston and Toronto for the next. I mean, Toronto
Brooklyn.
might go through a pretty radical change here in the next year too.
Brooklyn could be up there.
I
Brooklyn might have
trust.
some
I
matchups
trust
like
the
that.
way we're built that we can at least stay within the top 2 of the division with this radical change that is coming, like based on all the contracts. Like it's gonna happen next year probably.
Yeah.
We lose. We can still re-sign them. Ibaka, Gasol, and
Van Vliet. Yeah.
And then we have Lowry only one more year after that.
You want to make some predictions on this series? I'm gonna say
It's going 7.
I'm gonna be fair here. I don't want to sound too biased. If Kyle Lowry doesn't play a game, Boston wins. I'm gonna say Kyle Lowry does play though because he's a Bulldog, and I'm gonna say Raps in 7. And I'm saying the winner, regardless, Raps or Celtics, winner of this series is going to the finals.
Ooh.
7. Yeah, I'm calling a 7-game series. I'll say because I love the Raps and I can't bet against them, I'll say Raps in 7. But I will also I'm scared.
I think if Lowry doesn't play, it's gonna be tough.
I'm scared. So I'd say Raptors in 7. And
if Lowry doesn't play, Norm Powell's got to have a huge series. He's going to step in the starting lineup.
Unbelievable in the playoffs.
He's been good
against it.
He's going to have to continue to have a huge series.
Playoff Powell.
Boston's got a lot of good defenders, so it's easy to have a good series against Brooklyn.
I think. Well, again, if Lowry plays, I think he's going to have the opportunity to do that too if he's coming off the bench because he's going to get some easier matchups. I think than going up against Jaylen Brown going up like having Jaylen Brown.
I don't know the analytics, but Norm Powell, his game doesn't seem like a transition game. Does that help us? Because he likes to like drive the lane.
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of the better half-court players that we have.
Who knows? Maybe that's an advantage.
It could be.
Our TV just turned off, I think.
We lost the logo. Oh, we're back.
Hey, that was just my laptop going to sleep. But yeah, so does that help us?
Well, that's Norm and like Siakam, I think, are probably the two guys who are best in like a half court who can.
What about
Lowry?
Serge?
Well, Lowry too, I think.
Yeah.
What about Serge?
But Lowry, if his ankle's hurt, that's gonna affect that too.
Serge is more a guy who like takes advantage of mismatches.
Yeah.
He's not gonna,
actually, we didn't talk about that. That's a big thing with Boston too. Is their bigs are not very good.
Yeah.
Like they've got
Daniel Tice.
Daniel Tice is like
starts.
yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah.
I don't even know that name.
You need.
I honestly don't.
Yeah. And I guess Embiid could have. Embiid was supposed to bully them in that series, and he just didn't have it.
Yeah.
But
Well, another thing the Raptors could do is
Because Embiid's the most overrated player in the NBA, and it's not even close.
like if the Raptors go small, I don't even think Daniel Tice can play.
like if
Like
Siakam's at the 5.
Even if it's like Ibaka.
yeah.
Like I don't know if Daniel Tice can guard Serge Ibaka. He can definitely guard Gasol.
Although like the one thing with Gasol
it's
though,
gonna be a chess match.
Gasol can pull him
Harrison
out.
Stevens.
and I like
Pull him out of the
and I
paint.
like Nurse in a chess match.
He hasn't lost yet.
Nick Nerd.
He
Nerd.
hasn't. He's undefeated as his head coach of the NBA in a chess match.
Yeah, Nick Nerd.
So yeah, I'm excited for that to start.
I'm gonna go Raps in 6 with the homer pick there.
Regardless,
No. Like
you're
Lowry's
saying
got to
Lowry's
play
gonna
for that
play.
to hold up. But
Lowry
I'm-
doesn't play Raps and
I think I'm pretty confident in Lowry playing because if he wasn't gonna play, he would have just gone home. I think you know what I mean.
yeah.
But I guess actually they could win without him.
Part of me thinks though, if they
Like,
know
if
he's
he-
gonna play, why don't they just say?
because they want I guess keep Boston guessing
Yeah,
a
you're
little
messing
bit
with
and
them.
Yeah.
You're messing with them.
and
But
like,
you're also messing with me.
they're under
messing with
I guess
the frontier.
they're under no obligation either to
They don't have to.
yeah. So
So are you saying you said Heat are going to be the Bucks? So I guess you're obviously sticking with Raps go to the finals. If the Celtics win, who's your? Do you think the Celtics go to the finals too? Like I think winner of the series goes to the finals. I don't trust the Bucks. I have no faith in the Bucks.
I will say if it's Celtics Heat, I think Miami will win. If
Wow.
it's Celtics Bucks, I think the Bucks will beat the Heat, beat the Celtics. So, but
Okay.
I still think the Heat are gonna beat the Bucks. So I guess based on that, I would say no, the Celtics won't go to the finals if they win. But who knows?
So talking about this, we're talking about this parity in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. I was thinking, like the NBA, I don't know what year it was. I think it was like the mid-2000s. They went to a 7-game series in the first round. They used to be best of 5. We've got the Thunder and the Rockets 2-2. We've got Mavs Clippers, and then we've got the Jazz.
Mavs Clippers is 3-2 Clippers.
Right, and then Jazz Nuggets. I guess that would have been the only one that would have
That's
been.
3-2 Jazz.
And that one, if it was best of 5, would have been done. The Jazz would have won. All the other series were pretty one-sided, even though we've kind of been talking about how the parity in the NBA is kind of at an all-time
I just
high
think
this
the
year.
East. Is just ridiculously top heavy. Like the top 4 teams in the East are just far and away better than the bottom 5.
Yeah, well, Philly and Indiana
Or the
were
5
supposed
to
to be
8.
good.
That's
They
part of
had
the thing too. I
injuries.
think we would have got better series if Ben Simmons stayed healthy and Victor Oladipo was healthy all year. Like
So you think
Indiana, like those two teams were in trouble. So
you like the
yeah, personally, I do like
best
the
of 7?
yeah, because you still
Me too.
and it's a bigger sample size too. So you like the better team's gonna win more often.
Well, but my
And it
thought
makes-
on that though is like if Portland and Orlando win game 1 and it's a best of 5, then you're like, holy shit, we got something here. Now it was like they both won their first game and everyone's
I
like
think
they're still gonna lose.
For excitement level, I agree. It's probably more exciting with a best of 5, but I think I'm on Brandon's side where I just prefer a best of 7 always. Like it just seems more legitimate.
Yeah, and it makes the when you do the odd times you do get an upset in the NBA, it makes it so much more meaningful that you have
yeah,
a team that
Yeah.
wins 4 games. Like 4 just seems like such a bigger number than 3 for whatever reason. Like that extra game,
It's
yeah,
25% less.
Yeah.
it's true.
it just is bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, do you think we can move on from the NBA?
I'd like to move on to the Jays and
yeah.
save the Leafs for last, personally. Or
Yeah,
like
we can.
the
do-
NHL.
We
for
got a lot
last.
to talk about with both of those, so yeah, we can
so
do that.
I'd want to do Jays first if you guys.
So we got some more news. I don't know if you want to break that. Another Blue Jays trade to break.
I'll do the because I don't have the trade in front of me. So Brandon, hit us.
they've acquired Taiwan Walker from the Seattle Mariners in exchange for a player to be named later.
This also just happened right before we went on
Yeah.
the air.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to say one of the things we were going to talk about here is what should the Jays do at the trade deadline? I think the answer to that would have been, considering the injuries that have mounted,
Pitching.
is they need starting pitching now.
So actually, yeah, and a corresponding move to that, they put Trent Thornton on the 45-day DL, which is the new 60-day. So he's done for the year. Yeah. So
Shoemaker's like day to day, I believe.
don't think they put him on the 10-day.
Did you
so.
see the seat he had in Buffalo yesterday?
Matt?
Yeah.
No.
He had like a full couch in the stands, like in one of like the alleyways where you like go to get like food and stuff.
Yeah.
He had like a couch right behind home plate.
Nice.
It was awesome. Best seat in the house.
Yeah, that's-
Anyways, that was irrelevant to our
No,
conversation.
it was.
I thought it was kind of
He's-
cool.
He's rehabbing by
Yeah.
chilling on the
Yeah,
couch.
he's chilling. He's got the best seat in the house. Anyways, keep
So what do
going.
they have? Like Ryu,
Chase Anderson.
Chase Anderson.
Isn't Pearson hurt too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
They-
we've lost
So
3
he's
of our starters.
getting a second opinion on his elbow injury. So that's not a good sign.
That's scary.
yeah.
And that consequently, you're gonna have to move. Like the Jays bullpen has been really good, but you're gonna need a couple of those guys to be starters.
I think
now.
Anthony Kay is the most likely one to come out and start.
So it
because he's
really
been stretched out.
is,
Him or Thomas Hatch. one of
Shun
those two.
Yamaguchi made it through 4 innings last
He's
night.
been
That was
pretty
great.
good.
Yeah,
He's been
I was
pretty good.
He's starting
really
to figure it
scared.
out.
Yeah, I was nervous with him at the beginning.
Yeah,
of the
one
year.
of the
He was
things they
just
always
getting
talk
shelled.
about. Yeah, one of the things they always talk about with guys coming over from Japan is that the baseball's different. It's like one is cowhide and one is pig hide, I think. And for whatever reason, like that makes a big difference for them trying to adjust to it. So maybe
Yeah.
that's just what you were seeing was that adjustment period with him, because he's looked a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know cow to pig what that does, but maybe
Apparently, it is different.
maybe
People-
we'll get a
people
pitch. Maybe we'll get a pitcher
Yeah.
on and we'll talk about cowhide opposed to pig hide.
Shun Yamaguchi next week on the pod.
So Taiwan Walker, I'm just looking now. He's started 5 games. 4.94. No, wait.
Yeah.
That's not it. Where's the ERA?
Four
Four straight ERA. Sorry. And then WHIP 1 point. So he's a steady arm.
Yeah,
to
he's
have.
missed the last 2 seasons because of injury. Basically,
Yeah.
he's pitched like 14 innings of it in 2018 and 2019 combined. So
He's already doubled that this year.
and he was So like when you really look at it, he hasn't played since he was 24, which is pretty crazy. He's 27 now, so he's starting to figure it out. He was a pretty good prospect when he was younger. Never totally met that potential, but he's a pretty good arm. I don't know what his contract status is going forward. He's free. Okay,
He's
so
a
he's
free
a free
agent.
agent at the end of the year.
Yeah. And also, this is pretty important too. According to Baseball Reference, his nickname is Ty Weezy.
Nasty.
Did you know Travis Shaw's nickname is the mayor of Ding Dong City?
I didn't. I saw that
Yeah.
on Twitter, but I didn't know
the
that.
mayor of Ding Dong City.
And I think he made that. I think he edited his own Baseball Reference page.
Yeah, because he's certainly not the mayor of Ding Dong City.
He is. Yeah. Wait. We don't have to talk about him.
So who fills the rotation out then? Because we
So-
still have Tanner Roark. We have
So yeah, it'll be Roark,
Ryu, Anderson.
then
Now Walker.
and then probably Anthony Kay.
Yeah.
What about Sam Gaviglio?
Oh, no,
Gaviglio.
no.
Sammy Gaviglio? Come on. Come on, give him a shot, coach. Get him in there.
Wow, you have Sam Gaviglio's agent on the show.
Come on.
That's
Put him in. He pitched 95 innings last year. You got to get him in for a couple more.
Sam's agent is
Sammy's uncle's calling
yeah,
it.
his uncle who runs a local deli in Queens, New York. That's his agent.
My boy Sammy. My brother's boy. Put him in.
Yeah, he's not going to be starting, I don't think.
Mr. Gaviglio, you call me every day.
I never had a son of my own. He's like a boy to me. I love him. Get him on the mound. I'm sure he'll do it for you.
Man.
Sorry, boys.
No, I think we need to have Sam's uncle on the show every week.
Yeah, every week. Sammy's been sitting in that bullpen. I swear to God. If Charlie, can I call him Charlie? I'm not on a first name basis with Mr. Montoya.
You can call me Charlie.
Charlie, get him on the mound. Sammy needs it. He needs to get that arm working.
You know what? I think I'm gonna put him in the 8th hole batting this week.
You know, he's got a bat too.
Yeah.
You know?
They go try him out in the 8th hole.
I remember, what was it? He was 10 years old. I saw him hit a jack once. It was nice. It was a nice one though. He can do it. It's in his wheelhouse. Anyways, Julian. Yeah, we lost him. We lost Uncle Gaviglio.
His line cut out.
Yeah. Uncle, he doesn't have a first
Uncle
name.
G.
Yeah, they just call him by his last
Uncle
name.
G. Uncle G.
Uncle G.
Wait, he's calling in again. Get my boy on the mound.
Dan Vogelbach too. What do you think of that trade? He just got Rowdy.
That guy's
Tellez.
just an absolute monster. I don't know if,
We're
like,
trading Rowdy?
No,
He's
they
like-
got Rowdy 2.0.
Yeah, so like that's I don't
thought,
know.
because they've been talking about like what they were gonna do with Rowdy.
Well,
Tellez.
now
he hit 2 jacks yesterday.
I know, but they got like a guy who's basically him.
Mm-hmm.
They
But
could have a good
Listen to
offensive
Dan
line.
Vogelbach, his baseball reference page.
What did you? We
Six-
could have a good offensive line.
Dan, listen to this.
A lot of heavy bodies.
Ryu, Vladdy.
Vogelbach, 6 feet tall,
Listen to this.
270.
Oof.
Yeah, he's a brick.
That's
And,
that's like if you added 55 pounds to me. That's
So-
a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
That's like Jim Neidhart.
Yeah.
Jim the Anvil.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Or like Otis.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Otis.
No, Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah, so he's first base DH. I really don't like. I don't know how he fits in with. Like you've got 3 DHs now basically on this team, and Travis Shaw.
When they
4, I guess, if you include
made
Teoscar.
what Vlad? Are you counting Vladdy?
Yeah, Vlad, Rowdy Tellez, Dan Vogelbach, and Teoscar. And they're gonna have a hard time fitting all these guys.
He was
in.
an all-star
He was an
last
all-star last year. Yeah, he's batting .094 this year,
I don't
which
know,
isn't good.
The thing
but-
that struck me though is like, I was looking at when they made the trade. I looked at his stats last year.
yeah, he gets on base.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
horrible batting average.
Yeah.
But he obviously has a great eye at the plate because he's got a really good on base percentage for a guy who batted 208 last year.
It's definitely worth a shot, right, to take a chance on a guy like this because he hit 30 home runs last year. If you can hit 30 home runs and get on base, his on base percentage was 341. You're gonna have a spot somewhere in the lineup because
Yeah.
that's as good as Tellez is at hitting the ball out of the park. He doesn't get on base enough, at least not at the major league level. So maybe it puts, if nothing else, maybe it puts a little bit of pressure on Rowdy, gets him a little bit more. I don't know, gives him some motivation. But
what's your Vlad meter at?
it's gone down for sure. Because if you look at his numbers now, he's kind of.
Yeah, he's
The power's still not there, but he's
So wait, going down is good.
yeah.
So it's level of concern.
yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
You're at a 3, so where you at a?
I'll go down to a 2.5
Wow,
now.
you're not
Yeah.
willing to go to a 2.
No, not yet.
He's been hitting some line drives.
Yeah, because I guess kind of the thing that like the power's always been there. You can you see when he hits the ball, he's got there's power there. He just needs to figure out his launch angle a little bit, but he's starting to get on base more, which is what his biggest asset was in the minors. So things are looking a little bit more encouraging. He's taking ground balls at third again too, which I don't know if I want to see that, but I guess because if you have a chance to get Dan Vogelbach and Rowdy Tellez,
I do want to see that.
Yeah,
Make him figure out how to play third base.
guess.
He's so much more valuable if he's
you're
playing
right.
third base.
You're right.
And like he's 21, he should be able to figure it out. I
Yeah.
think he's supposed to be an athlete,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Supposed to be.
yeah. Blue Jays 15 and 14 right now, I believe.
Yeah.
After that win yesterday. So I'm still in line for the gold belt.
What else would you think? Not to derail that, but what do you like?
I want to talk about that.
Not to completely derail your
around my waist.
your promo here.
It's not going to be around your waist. What are you talking about? I'm closer than you are.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
They're on pace.
We're on pace for 32 wins. I said 38 wins, so I'm 6. I'm 6. Oh, so you're 1 ahead of me because you had 27 wins.
Yeah, but if they get 32 wins, I win.
If they get 32 wins, why? Because you can't go over? Are we doing prices right?
It's 5 away from me, 6 away from you.
I know. That's why I just self-corrected right away.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be a lot. But come on, you're saying we're gonna do worse down the line than we're gonna do better?
Well,
I'd say we're on the rise.
All right, we'll see. I think,
Dude, come on.
it's gonna be me.
You are hoping for a bad season.
So one thing I think I'd want to not to bring this back to the deadline, but is there anything else you'd want to see them add here?
Well, I mean,
Because it seems like it seems like the price is not very high if you're giving up a player to be named later for Taijuan Walker. It doesn't seem like the price is very high for guys who are free agents next year.
yeah.
Which rightfully so, because I don't know what you're going to give up for a guy who's.
I guess a guy who can play shortstop.
Yeah, backup shortstop.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, because I guess we don't even know if Bo's going to be
I've heard
back.
Andrelton Simmons has been a rumor. He's not very good offensively, but he's really good defensively.
The problem with that, I guess, is then what do you do with Bo? Do you move Bo to third when he gets back, or move Simmons to third?
You put Bo where he's comfortable. He's priority.
I feel like I guess you'd have to figure that out. I think I'm sure Simmons can play third. He's been one of the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah, it just seems weird to move him from short. Like, ideally, I'd rather have Bichette at third, but.
Yeah. I think Biggio can play third, too. Maybe one of those guys can play second.
Biggio's kind of.
Speaking of, he's been unbelievable lately.
Yeah.
He's picked up the slack. Like, they needed someone to get it going now that Bo's out, and he's been the guy. He's been kind of carrying the team. Yeah, I guess, I mean, a middle infielder is probably what you want.
An outfielder, too, might not be the worst thing in the world.
I mean, you got those 3 guys, though. Like, you want all 3 of them in the lineup.
I was thinking more long-term, I guess, but I guess you're probably not making a long-term trade.
I think you're not making long-term moves right now.
I
think you're comfortable with having Gurriel, Hernandez, and Grichuk in your lineup. Long-term, I think you want changes there.
I think you definitely want a third baseman, a guy who can play third and hit lefties would be good, too. Just because right now, Brandon Drury's your platoon partner for...
We say Travis Shaw is like a write-off too at this point.
No, but he can't hit lefties, right? So if anything else, if nothing else, you want a platoon partner for him. The guy, so
he can't really hit righties. He can't.
Well, yeah.
Drury can't in panic can't hit anyone.
Yeah, you cannot have the 2 of them on your team.
I'll be back.
All right,
we're losing them.
Yeah, I would say a middle infielder or someone who can play third, like an infielder.
Yeah.
A versatile infielder who can hopefully give you something at the plate, unlike Drury and Panic.
The guy that I can't remember who threw this out there, but Jed Jerko would be an interesting guy for them because he can play third. He's a right-handed bat who can hit lefties. So I don't think he's an everyday player, but he's a guy that you can throw in there. He's not going to cost a lot at all. I can't imagine he'd be much more than a player to be named later, but. He's got a little bit of flexibility. He's again, you have to improve on Brandon Drury. Really, how hard is that going to be to do?
Not.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't know if you're going to see a lot of trades.
Because
just I don't know if teams. At least I don't think you're going to see any significant trades more than I think the Taijuan Walker thing might be as significant as trades get.
I think it's all going to be guys who are pending free agents. Because I guess the team doesn't want to lose them for nothing, but nobody wants to give up anything extreme for a guy for a shortened season.
I just don't think you're going to see prospects being dealt because they're not. There's no scouting, right? You're not able to look at guys. A lot of them aren't even playing. So.
Yeah, so I guess you just got to go off what you've seen in the past.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be really, really minor prospects for guys who are average players who are pending free agents, I think, is the max what you're going to see. Maybe you'll see some guys who can play right now for guys who can play right now deals.
Yeah, those rarely happen.
Right.
Especially in season. Those are more off-season things that you'll see that.
Yeah.
So.
I think
You want to move on to the NHL?
That's really it for the Jays. We talked about it. They're last I heard, they're talking about whether or not they're going to play today, which I think every team in the MLB is. So we'll see what happens there. Speaking of trades, Leafs made a splash. Kyle
We
Dubas
fleeced Jimmy Rutherford.
I did. See, I
So
just. I
we
disagree.
got-
You can disagree.
We got some
let's
more
talk.
news here. If we just want to break NHL news here, Elliot Friedman just tweeted out 4 minutes ago that players are being told to prepare for cancellations tonight. So I don't know if that means that they're going to be canceled, but it sounds like that to me sounds like they were not playing
It's
tonight.
in preparation of.
Yeah.
See, I think like it should be the players. Like if the league's just doing it, this is not like. It's like, do you not want to play for the cause or not?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing at this point? You're just like, well, they're not doing it, so we just don't want to look stupid. It's like you already. I don't know. I guess they have to do it.
They're in a
anyways.
tough spot.
I'd like to see
a
the
little
players
bit.
be like, we came to the decision that we're not going to
Yeah,
play.
no, that would be way better. But
Not like we said they told us we weren't allowed. It's like, what are you doing at this point? So I would say it's safe to bet the games are going to happen.
and Matt Dumba tweeted out too. You know that, so he's part of the Hockey Diversity Alliance.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he tweeted out, "We at the Hockey Diversity Alliance." Oh, I just lost it. We at the Hockey Diversity Alliance have formally requested the NHL to suspend playoff games today. So
Okay. Well,
So
then
it
I
is-
guess they're
it's
doing.
part-
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was 20 minutes ago.
That's
so.
they're.
And that's good that
Yeah.
they're doing that.
Yep. Speaking out.
So you say,
I say we definitely won the trade.
yeah.
Oh, we're doing the Kapanen trade.
But this is why I say I don't really agree with like fleeced because
All right, we can talk verbiage all we want.
no, well, I think people don't like the trade is like if you're grading it from the Leafs perspective, it's a home run. But I think people like look at trades and they like look at it at the sliding scale. Like if it's a 9 out of 10 for this team, that means it's a 1 out of 10 for the other team.
I never said that. I never said that.
No, but fleeced means like the other team got like they got tricked. Like that's what that means to me.
I think they did.
I think that's
They gave up way too much
No,
for just Kapanen.
Because I think if you're looking at it from Pittsburgh's perspective, Crosby's 33, Malkin's 34. All you're trying to do if you're Jim Rutherford is maximize that window of like we're trying to win a Stanley Cup in the next 2 or 3 years. Well, these guys are still in their prime.
First round picks, especially forwards, they come into the league. They come into the league in like 2 years.
15th over. That's not. They need to do this.
I'll get
now.
into some statistics later on the 15th overall pick.
A 15th overall pick has like minimal value for the Pittsburgh Penguins right now.
especially like
Sure,
they've traded
Sure,
all their
whatever-
first round
But
picks too.
me
Yeah,
saying
and is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. Well, it's bad. It's bad for the future for sure.
I'm in the camp of you hold on to your picks unless it's like a deal you have to make. In my opinion, that's just the way I would run a team.
Right.
Obviously,
But I
everybody
would-
has different opinions on that. I value draft picks because I think homegrown talent is the most important. Controllable contracts are the most important thing in hockey, especially with this cap.
But the way that Pittsburgh won their last 2 cups, it was like you have those 2 guys and you just trade around them basically.
Yeah, but
Those 2 guys in Letang, like that's, and you just build off that. Like they weren't growing guys.
they grew
around
Matt
them.
Murray. They drafted Matt Murray.
Okay,
They needed
but
him in the playoffs.
They still have him. They still have a goal.
Yes, I know that, Mike. You're bringing up things. You're stating them like I don't already know that. I
Right.
know that they still have him.
If-
All I'm saying is in a general sense, I would prefer to not trade away a first round pick if I have the potential to make that pick and make it count. And this is a very deep draft. You also have to remember that scouts are saying this is a very deep draft.
we lost the logo again.
I know, I got it.
right, but
so-
you're not.
yeah,
But that's
so
not
sure.
a value to the Pittsburgh though.
No, sure, but I'm not saying okay.
That's why I'm saying it's not a fleet.
Sorry, I'm an exaggerate. I exaggerate. What? That's why I said we can talk verbiage all we fucking want. But the Leafs won the trade.
The Leafs. It was a great trade for the Leafs.
Yes.
Regardless of how it turns. But if Kasperi Kapanen plugs in on Sidney Crosby's right wing, scores 30 goals, and they win the cup.
Look, there are
It's a home run for
yeah,
Pittsburgh,
but that's
right?
speculation.
Right. But
Everything, but to be fair, everything the Leafs got back is speculation
Yeah.
too. Like they just got a pile of
No,
speculation.
we
No,
got
no,
rid.
no, the
we
cap
got
space is the
we
big
got
one.
rid of.
But you don't know
we
what they're
got-
gonna do with that,
We
is
got
what
rid
I'm
of
saying.
cap
Yeah.
space. We got back a pick that we had traded. That
Right.
that was that. honestly, it hurt not having that pick after we got eliminated in the qualifying
Right, but it
round.
all depends on what
we
you
have
do.
another piece. We have another piece that's easily tradable.
That's-
A first-round pick.
So
That's all speculation.
That's my point.
No, but
yeah.
it's easily. But that's an easily tradable thing. That's not
But you
speculation.
don't know
That's a
what they're gonna.
fact.
You don't know what they're gonna do with the cap space. You don't know what they're
Yeah.
gonna do with the pick.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
right?
Obviously, it's dependent on what Dubas does with it. But as of right now, I think we won the trade. I think Jim Rutherford thought he was trading for
my
Liljegren
whole-
and not Jesper Lindgren.
my whole-
I personally think that's what happened.
My whole
and
point-
I think he made a mistake. Because this trade doesn't make sense. There's two guys two guys that are never gonna make never gonna make the NHL. Pontus Aberg and Jesper Lindgren. Jesper Lindgren has a better chance than Aberg, but these guys are career AHLers.
They're trading for a winger.
Yeah,
to play
you're
with
trading for a
Crosby.
winger that likes to shoot
And-
first and rip it right into the guy's chest. So if that's what you want, sure. But
Historically, they
Great.
love Kasperi Kapanen too.
I know,
Obviously,
yeah,
they drafted,
they drafted
him.
him.
They did not want to trade him in the Kessel
And
trade.
sure. Well,
See-
actually, the Kessel trade, they were more concerned with Derek Pouliot
And they
than
did-
they were
yeah.
with Kasperi.
And I know
Kapanen.
right after that, Rutherford came out and he said, "Look, this guy's going to be better. There's going to be a point in time. Obviously, this is true, but there's going to be a point in time where Kasperi Kapanen's better than Phil Kessel, and it's probably sooner than we think."
No.
That's what he said.
I know,
that's
but
what
I
he.
don't agree with
No,
that.
I don't agree with it either. But that's what he said at the time of the trade. So he's
Well, I don't think
clearly,
Phil Kessel's much better than Kasperi Kapanen right now.
he
I think
clearly
he is.
he clearly
Maybe
loves
by
the
like
player.
by a year from now, he won't be.
Okay.
And
Well,
another comparison
that's-
too, if you look at the success that
your
Carl
opinion.
Hagelin had playing with them,
Yeah,
that's a very similar player to Carl Hagelin.
And
Well, Hagelin was on his own. Hagelin was on his own line.
Yeah, the HBK
It was,
line.
it was Bonino, Bonino.
right, that's
Yeah.
right.
It was
But-
Hagelin, Bonino, and Kessel.
Crosby is like notoriously. I don't know.
He raises the game.
No, I don't want to say picky, but like there's specific guys.
It's
who
hard to
fit
play with
him.
Crosby.
Sure, he
Yeah.
plays a similar.
And I wouldn't be
Kasperi
surprised if
Kapanen-
Crosby had input on like who are we gonna get to play with you.
I wouldn't be surprised on that either. Look, I'm not saying. Look, okay,
but
you love to do this when we have discussions. You like to zone in on like one word that I say and like dispute the argument with that.
that's what I
Sir,
said.
I said fleeced. Okay, maybe it's not a fleece job, but it's like right now, as it stands, the Leafs benefit more from this than the Penguins do.
Well, I think that remains to be seen. But either way, my point is that doesn't change that this is a great trade for the Leafs. Just like I don't think it. My whole argument was like, I don't
was
think.
semantics.
No, I don't think a trade
Yes.
is like a winner. Like this team won, this team lost all the time. It's like it was a great trade for us, regardless of how it turns out for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's keep going with the trade. The first overall pick. You guys wanted to
15th
yes,
overall pick.
well, first round pick is what I
Yeah.
meant. Sorry, 15th overall pick in the first round. What do you guys think we should do with it? Do you think we should move it? Do you think we should use it? If we should use it, is there a prospect you have in mind that we could use it on? Is there a position in mind that we should use it on?
I mean,
What do you guys think?
I kinda
Let's just
think-
open it up for a fun discussion.
Everything is obviously on the table with that too.
Yeah.
Because
okay,
Of course, that's assumed. Let's assume everything's on the table.
Well, if
What would you guys want to happen?
if you can get a good
Who would that be?
top
though?
4 defenseman, then I would consider moving it. Like
Let's go. Yeah.
the standard like names that come up, like Chris Tanev.
Oh,
That's
he's
like
a free
always,
agent.
Yeah, so they might just sign him.
Yeah.
That's what
No,
they
they'll-
might use the cap space.
Vancouver will re-sign Tanev. He's playing too well with Hughes right now. Like him and Hughes are like their top line, their top defense pairing. They're not going to let him go. I can't see that happening.
there's the two prospects that stand out to me. I gotta find the one. I can't remember the one guy's name, but there's obviously the goalie, the Russian goalie. Askarov.
I have an entire.
or you're talking about
spiel
who
of-
they're going to draft.
No, but I'm just saying if they're gonna draft
I have
somebody
an.
with that pick.
Are you talking Braden Schneider?
Yes, that's who it is. I couldn't remember his first
he's
name.
he's the two-way right-handed defenseman. He's 6'2", 220, I think. He plays for the Brandon Wheat Kings.
He's an older guy too. He's
He's
Not
a
an
late
overager,
birthday.
but
He's
he's-
a
yeah.
late birthday. It still is his draft year, but he's a late birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a guy. Apparently, he's very NHL ready, according to Craig Button. Take that with a grain of salt. So he's very NHL ready. He can step in within the next 2 years. I like that draft pick. He's kind of Brandon Carlo-esque, with a little more offensive upside from the limited knowledge that I have of him. But so I do like that pick. I've also seen Jake Sanderson dropping recently, which is like he's the number 2 ranked defenseman in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen him dropping. It all really depends, obviously, on who goes where.
Which is part of the.
Say Jamie Drysdale makes it out of the top 5, right? And that's actually plausible that could happen.
Yeah.
Say he comes out of the top 5.
yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen, but it is plausible. Like
I think Ottawa would take him at
Ottawa
5.
should take him at 5.
Yeah.
But they could go They could go Stoitzel and Marco Rossi, or even Alexander Holtz, like one of those like skilled wingers, because they're not bad for defensive prospects. They have Brandstrom, who's going to be playing next year if he hadn't already played at the end of last year. I'm not sure. They had Shabbat. Obviously, they have Zaitsev locked in for 6 more years or whatever the fuck.
I think
so. He's got a spot.
I
don't know. Young defensemen. It doesn't seem like it's really their pressing need. But with 2 top 5 picks, you just pick best player available with that second one. I say.
Part of the issue for me though is going to be the Leafs have this is a reality that's going to start setting in soon. The Leafs have Austin Matthews for 4 more years, then he's a free agent. Like he could be gone in 4 years.
That's part of my thing.
Which is why I think
that's part of my thing.
And Morgan Riley's a free agent 2 years, so the clock is ticking, probably a lot sooner than people want to realize that it's ticking. So, to me, I think I would seriously consider.
I have a serious
trade
pitch.
that pick.
I have a serious pitch for Askarov.
I think.
I have a very serious pitch for Askarov.
If you're talking about trading that pick, I think you talks with Carolina because they have like a ridiculous defensive depth.
Yeah.
And then they have the 13th pick too.
And 15th.
There's been rumors that Florida is like Ekblad.
That was so.
Like,
I was listening.
They're looking to trade Ekblad. Like
also, Calgary's losing Hamonic and Brody to free agency.
Yeah.
One of them we could sign. What do you think we could get? We could get one of them for.
I'm talking about if they're what would they be looking for if they're going to trade the pick?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Let's stay on track. I'm going on.
No. Definitely I think Brody, like Tanev, those are the guys that you're looking at if they're just going to sign someone.
I like Hamonic better than those two.
One of the things that I heard on the radio too, I heard Chris Johnson say this, that does a Nylander for, this is obviously wild speculation, but does Nylander,
like
I don't think that's
trade
happening
Nylander,
now, but this was obviously before this, but he said, does Nylander for Ekblad make any sense? Would
makes sense.
Like,
I don't know.
Ekblad's worth more than that.
When you look at the way that team is, you'd obviously have to throw in maybe a little bit more, but they've got a new throwing a third. They've got a new GM stepping in there. Obviously it's a team that's always been pretty cash strapped. Nylander's got all his money paid to him. He's like a cap hit that is way above his actual money due. So I think you could make a.
How much does Ekblad get paid?
7.5 is his cap hit.
So how many more years? Like 6?
Till 2025 through 2025.
So what if you did like a Janssen in the first and throw in? You probably have to throw in more.
Throw in a third.
But
I don't think you're making that trade without William Nylander going the other way, or Marner. But I don't like.
Well, yeah. Well,
you don't think you could do Janssen first and like a
No.
Rasmus Sandin?
No.
Nah, I think they're gonna want a yeah.
Anyways, that's just again wild speculation, but I think that's obviously one of the big things that this trade does. It just gives them so much more flexibility. It gives them the cap space. It gives them the pick, and it gives them a decent prospect that they could use all 3 of those things to bring in a good defenseman. So
okay, so Mike, what are you thinking? Are you thinking we're probably? I think we're probably going to move the pick. I want us to take somebody. I want to use it because I'm a draft nerd. I really want to get into it. I want to whenever the Leafs don't have a pick, I always lose my almost like my passion for following the draft. This is a selfish thing.
I know.
For me.
I really
it's
don't.
A selfish thing. For
me.
me.
If they can get a good player now, you just get the good player.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that I don't like that either. I'm saying I'm saying in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I wish, because I love watching the draft. It's literally just a personal thing for me. It's not like they shouldn't do it because I want to watch the draft. I think that's where you're misconstruing.
I'd rather the team be
do whatever we can to make the team better. But I like watching the draft. I like watching the draft picks, and I have a pretty good argument, I would say, for why we should pick a certain guy. If you guys want me to get into that,
go for it.
Unless Mike, because it's going to be a little bit of a spiel. So if Mike wants to talk to me about and talk to us about what he wants to do with it.
Well, no, I think just do this is obvious,
the
obvious,
fence sitter.
But
do what you can do.
Well, there's no
it.
I don't think there's a you have to trade the pick or you don't. It's like if you can get what you need for trading the pick, then trade the pick. Mm-hmm. I'm not but I think it's stupid to be they have to trade this pick.
Oh no, yeah, we're not putting definites on it. We're not putting definites on anything.
Right?
I'm just saying, what would you want us to do? If you had to choose either or, trade it or draft.
Well, I would say trade it just because you're getting a guy who's going to help you.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
I agree, but you need to make sure that that's something that's actually going to help
Dubas
you.
doesn't have a lot of rope in terms of messing
I like
up trades
making Mike
anymore.
make decisions. I prefer it.
Like, what would I rather have happen? I'd obviously rather them trade the pick and have someone who can help you next year. Like, this team is a win. As ridiculous as it may seem, they didn't make the playoffs. They're a win now.
Yeah.
So you're obviously maximized now.
I think we have a bigger window than people think.
Like a 3-year window.
5 years.
Well, no, we
It's
give us
not-
4
well,
4
we
years.
don't.
4 years. I give us a 4-year window, and this works into my argument here.
But you're
So-
looking at like trading some of those guys if you don't have anything going on in the next 2 or 3 years. Like, if you're sitting in the same spot in 3 years, you're like trading Marner.
We're 3 years away from like Austin Matthews trade speculation,
Yeah,
which is
no,
like
yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
wild.
That's what I mean. If
Like-
you're not making anything happen, you're like, what can we get for Austin Matthews? Like, that's
No,
Ugh.
I'd say we trade Tavares before him. I don't think Matthews is going anywhere.
We'll see. He can't like.
I don't. That's me thinking. That's
Yeah.
not me. Like, that's not me predicting the future. So my spiel here is the case for Yaroslav Askarov at number 15 if he's there. Okay, so our cap problems kind of revolve around the fact that we're loaded up front. Like everything's going towards the forwards. We have $56 million as of right now, designated just to our 14 forwards on the roster. That's a big problem because coming up, we are going to have to pay Morgan Riley and we're going to have to pay a goalie or Frederik Andersen, right? So Frederik Andersen, after this year, has one more year on his contract. So let's just say we move on from Frederik Andersen and we get a filler for a few years, right? Somebody like a Robin Lehner or somebody we can pay for a few years just to kind of fill the gap.
to be fair. Robin Lehner has like been as successful as Frederik Andersen.
Exactly, but he'll be cheaper.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
but like that's still like
Yeah, so
We'll
I don't,
see.
that's why I'm
He
not-
might not be.
He might not be. Who knows?
Well,
It
now,
depends on the
yeah.
playoff,
Yeah.
how he does in the playoffs. But so as of right now, I see 2 years down the line, we're going to be in trouble with Morgan Riley and we're going to be in trouble with Frederik Andersen. And 4 years down the line, we're going to be in trouble with Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews because they're going to have to be renewed.
yeah.
So we're dealing with two separate times where we're going to be in like serious cap trouble. One of those.
Well, I'm big
One
on
of
the. I'll
those-
let you. I'm just gonna say I'm big on the like. Let's trade Frederik Andersen right now.
Okay.
I'm big
I
on that.
I don't mind that.
But,
I don't
yeah.
mind that at all.
Big
But
part of
that's
that
kind
too-
of,
I say run a platoon.
Yeah, this is
Two
all
cheap
ki-
goalies run a platoon.
my whole whole thing is like this is down the line. This is my whole thing. Askarov covers your ass 4 years down the line.
Yeah.
And here's why. Because
But
the
where do you
sta-
sit on the Freddie right now? Like this offseason, are you looking to move him, or are you
I'm
my
looking-
thing is I think run a cheap platoon with Campbell and someone
Because-
else.
yeah, I like that option. I like moving Freddie.
That
Go-
gives
go
you
with the
so
hot
much.
goalie.
It gives you a lot more. It gives you a lot more play.
That gives
with
you
your-
almost $13 million in cap space too.
Yeah.
Well, depending on like what you get back.
But
Obviously,
are you like? Would you say like get another guy and then just run like a
Yeah,
go
I-
back and forth and
get
ride,
like a
ride the
2
hot
mil-
goalie
for the next 4 years, like 3
Yeah.
years, 4 years.
But are you trying
we
to
do that?
Are you trying to get another starter? Or are you just running with like Campbell
like-
and the other
I
guy
would
and
love
go-
I would love Campbell and like as of right now, like maybe for the next 2 years you have Campbell and someone else.
like
ride
Mike
the hot
Smith.
hand.
yeah, and
like-
then you bring in a vet. That's not going to be too expensive. Maybe towards the end of his career, and he can kind of sit in front of Askarov for those 2 years. So I'm going back to my.
Yeah, okay, go ahead,
I'm going back to my thing. So we have 4 years left of Austin Matthews after this. So that's the big like, hello, like we got to fucking deal with that down the line. That's like I guess the warning signals down the line. 4 years, we're not going to have a goalie, and or we're not going to be able to pay a goalie. We're not going to be able to pay a lot of our defensemen. So a good solution to that is Askarov being drafted this year with the 15th overall pick. Because, as we've seen, and I'm going to go through first-round pick goalies. I have an entire list here on like who succeeded, who didn't succeed. But it shows... okay, I'll get into that after, but I should have organized this a little bit better. But 4 years down the line, we're going to have to sign a goalie. We're going to need a goalie. We're going to need someone cheap, and we're going to need somebody effective in the net. So in 4 years, hopefully Askarov is ready to start in 4 years.
That would be ideal.
Which in the past that has kind of come to fruition, especially over the scouting for goaltenders has gotten a lot better over the last 10 years, and that's just kind of like proof is in the pudding here. So I'm going to read you out, first of all, the last 20 years, every goalie that's been picked in the first round, and then I'm going to read you out every goalie that's been picked in the first 15 picks, because there's a big difference. And Askarov is scouted to be in the first 15 picks, so he's part of that group, right? So these are so Marc-Andre Fleury in 2003, first overall. He's elite. We can call him elite, right? Carey Price, 5th overall in 2005. He's elite. Tuukka Rask, 21st overall in 2005. He's elite. And then recently, Andrei Vasilevsky, 19th overall in 2012. He began to play in 20...
Those aren't the only guys.
No, they're not. These are the elite ones.
Right.
So I'm
There's
reading you out.
Busts in there, though.
There's not a lot of busts.
Well, there's a few.
And they're mostly earlier on, like not within the last 10 years.
Okay.
So within the last 10 years, the only busts have been Jack Campbell,
Well,
who's a backup.
remains to be seen.
Yeah, he might not be.
Yeah.
He might not be. He was the 11th overall pick. Let me see. This guy's.
I mean, he's not that old. How old is he?
He's pretty old.
Is he?
He's like 28.
Oh, okay. I thought he was like 25.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2010, 11th overall. So the busts
So he's
on here,
28.
the busts on here that I have are first overall pick Rick DiPietro, bust.
Yeah, that's a
Brett-
notorious.
Brett Cron, 9th overall in,
think that was the Flames.
2000.
Played for the Calgary Hitmen.
Bust. Pascal Leclerc, 8th overall in 2001.
I thought he was gonna be sick.
So you're noticing a pattern here. A lot of goaltending scouting has just gotten a lot better.
Well, I think people stopped just
They don't.
They
get-
realize-
they don't do it now.
Yeah, and
Because
that's
all
why
those
when
guys.
a guy is drafted
He's
in the
really-
first
yeah,
round
he's really
nowadays, it's for a reason. Dan Blackburn, 10th overall, 2001. Jason Bakashihua.
Oh,
Bakashwa.
Bakashua.
heard of these
Thank
guys.
you. 26th overall in 2001. Adam Monroe, 29th over. A lot of goalies went in the first round in 2001. Then moving on, I'll move up to 2016. Rico Helenius,
Yeah,
15th overall, 2006. 26th overall, 2006. Leland Irving, Chet Picard, 18th overall, 2008.
Calvin Pickard's
And
brother.
recently, the most recent bust has been Mark Vicentine, 27th overall in 2010. So there's two goalies that are kind of waiting in the wings right now. That's Jake Odering, who was the 26th overall in 2017, and Spencer Knight, who was the 13th overall pick in
Ilya Samsonov
2019.
too.
Ilya Samsonov is in 2016.
Oh, you're still at that draft.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So then we'll move on to the goalies who are in the top 15. These are the only goalies that are in the top 15 over the last 20 years that that succeed. So this is a comment. It's from the Unknown 71 on Reddit. Thank you for kind of compiling all this information for me. So he said, I'd say 10 of the 29 goalies in the past 20 years is a pretty good chance that you would take with the 15th overall pick. That's like starter level or elite in those 29 names that I had named. There's 10 of them, right? So he says, I wouldn't really look that far back on prospects, especially goalies, though. The scouting/drafting has gotten considerably better over the last 10 years. 7 of the 30 from 2000 to 2001 alone make up the busts in that 10 of 29. So if you include top 15 picks since Fleury, it doesn't look that bad. So Marc-Andre Fleury, first overall pick, 2003. Carey Price, 5th overall pick, 2005. Devin Dubnyk, 14th overall pick in 2004. Jonathan Bernier, 11th overall pick in 2006. Jack Campbell, 11th overall pick in 2010. Rico Helenius, 15th overall pick in 2006. And Spencer Knight, 13th overall pick in 2019. So I would say there's two elite goalies there. There's one standard starter. There's 2 backups, a bust, and one that's developing. Right?
Yeah.
So when you break it down like that, goalies in the first round nowadays actually are a pretty good shot to get your starter. Not bad.
Yeah.
3 of the
But
6.
the caveat to
3
that
of
is,
the 6.
I'm assuming Dubnyk is one who's considered the starter. Dubnyk took like he took like 10 years to get, and he was run out of town at Edmonton.
Fair. He took a while, but he has
he's kind of a bit of
He's a little bit of an outlier.
He was like 30.
It's a little bit of an outlier, but I don't mind, especially like since like if we can't get a deal for it, I don't mind taking a risk on a goalie down the line because in 4 years, which is how long Vasilevsky took, in 4 years we need to sign Matthews. We are thinking about signing Marner for another year. We're thinking like Nylander comes off the books that year. Kerfoot and Andreas Janssen will be off the books at that point. Jake Muzzin is just coming off the books. There's a lot of guys we'll need to re-sign or move on from.
The only
Sandin, if Sandin starts, he will be up for a new contract. We don't know how much we might have to pay him. So there's a lot of things down the line that don't look good cap-wise for the Toronto Maple Leafs in 4 years in that window which we would be developing Askarov. So I'm thinking 4 years down the line, if we're able to land a goalie that could potentially even like be a 1A, 1B situation and then move in, almost like a Vasilevsky Bishop situation.
right.
If we can kind of create that, I would feel a lot better about drafting Askarov in the first round.
The only
thing
I'd say
I've kind of convinced myself that
go back on that is
yeah.
like I think if you look.
And I know that was a lot. I'm sorry, that was a lot of numbers and that was a lot of like me just listing people off. But
I think if you look in the last 10 years, like it's kind of like history's kind of shown that you don't need an elite goalie like that to win.
But it's also
Like
shown.
Antti Niemi.
But it's also
is
shown
winning
if you have a
Stanley
goalie
Cups.
on a cheap contract, it's very beneficial.
Yeah, that is.
So
but
that's
it doesn't
what I'm talking about.
necessarily have to be one that's drafted in the first round.
Doesn't
right?
necessarily have to at all.
Right.
But I mean, I'm saying if we're gonna use it and we like, and he falls
Like
to
obviously,
us,
if you can get like a Carey Price, you want it.
Yeah.
Well,
But
he is the
you don't need that to win,
yeah,
right?
He started in the KHL at 18 years old.
Yeah.
So that like 17 years old. That doesn't happen.
Played one game, to be fair. But
I would
he
just
started,
say
yeah.
like, and I know
But
this
it's
is
but and last year he played.
no, he played one game in the
One
KHL.
game in the KHL total.
in his career. Yeah.
Okay, so
I would just say if you're gonna use the 15th pick on a goalie, you need to be,
certain.
which is impossible, but like you have to be 99%.
Okay.
Like-
see, I don't agree with that.
Well, because you don't need. You can find like the St. Louis Blues,
like a
you-
usable
you-
goalie is easier to find. And
yeah, like you can find guys that can win you, right? Like Corey Crawford came out of, I don't know where he was drafted, but like you can find guys that can be suitable goalies if you build the rest of your team the right way.
I just look at Philly and I'm so envious of a Carter Hart. I think.
and he wasn't a first round pick either.
No, he was
too.
second, but
yeah.
he was supposed to go first.
Yeah, but he didn't.
He did, no, I know, but I'm just saying he was touted as like one of those top guys.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's a similar like maybe Askarov doesn't go first round. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like it could happen, but
that's what I mean.
it might not
you
happen.
look at those guys and you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice having
I'm just making
having
the
a Carey
case- I'm
Price,
just
having
making
a
the
Carter Hart,
case-
but they haven't won any Stanley Cups with either of those
I'm just
guys.
making the case for Askarov where it's like it really could be beneficial if we look down the line and where our team will be at to have a guy waiting in the wings that's kind of been developing and we can pay him a low salary and he has that boom potential, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of that. And I just thought I'd run it by you. Obviously, the conventional wisdom would say take a Braden Schneider or take a Jake Sanderson if he's available or take like a Henriks Lapierre if he's available because we need a little bit more center depth. Like if you look at the Marlies, we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel for centermen.
Yeah.
So conventional wisdom would say that. I'm just kind of arguing the other side where, like, if we do end up taking Askarov, remember, this might be a long-term play. That's all I'm trying to say.
Any draft pick is a long-term play.
Well,
If
but
at 50,
longer term
like-
than you're willing to get
Yeah.
your mind around. 4 years for a first-round pick. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Leafs Nation isn't very patient.
No,
Especially
that's
if
fair.
you're a guy
I
like
mean,
Kyle Dubas drafting him. If you don't have if things don't start turning around, he's not going to be here.
Yeah,
to
he
watch
has like
Askarov
another
play.
year.
And
Yeah.
that
Like,
and
to,
that
like,
that
fix
could
things.
that could go against the chances that we do draft Askarov. I think very much if he's thinking.
But I think if you're talking,
if he's thinking selfishly,
15th overall picks in the NHL, like there has to be, you have to have a level of pay. Like unless you're picking top 5, it's a long-term play in the NHL, right? It's not like the NBA where you're like any top
NFL,
20 pick is like probably a starter.
Yeah.
NFL, it's like your first 3 rounds
are
should
playing.
Well,
be,
NFL,
you're
you're picking, you're like, this guy's the best player on our team this year. If it's like top 10.
But yeah, I just wanted to get ahead of that. So like, just in case we did pick Askarov, people need to think long term, and they need to think like this could be very good and very beneficial for us down the line.
But even if
if
you're picking a defenseman, you're still looking at like that's like a 2 or 3 year.
Yeah, but
deal.
actually, apparently
least.
Braden Schneider is like he's like
Well, this is supposed to be a deep draft,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Apparently he could not next year, but he could start within the next 2 years.
And the reason why it is so long term is I think that's why there's a good chance that the pick gets moved because Dubas is like, I need to show something. Like I need to show some work here for what I built, right? He hasn't shown anything yet.
Yeah. So I wish I organized my thoughts a little bit better on that. Did I get my point across properly?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just because when you're telling a story and you're like, I'm not sure if it got through. I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad you guys got my gist there. So let's move on because we're at like an hour 24 right now.
Yeah. Well, we have no.
We have no limit. We have no limit. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Go Logan Couture tweet.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was about. So he tweeted out this story. Do you have it up there, or I'll bring it up?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, this is like really weird. I was trying to like get to the bottom of it, and I couldn't
think
really
he deleted it, so I don't.
No, but I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand a lot of it.
He basically just tweeted out saying that he was in Toronto at a bar.
Yeah.
And
I understand that.
he got sucker punched because he was talking about how you would vote for Trump if he had the option.
Which is, if that is true, like obviously stupid. Like you don't sucker punch anyone for anything.
Yeah. But like I don't. And he said something about his dad being a cop too, which apparently isn't true.
Well, I was reading a thing. Yeah, apparently his dad's a firefighter, but in the tweet he said his dad was a cop.
Yeah.
So it was like he was, I guess maybe trying to like,
Stoke
thought it would like hit the home more if he said his dad was a cop. It's just weird the way he worded it. It was like, I was in Toronto, Ontario. It's like, you're from Southern Ontario. No, you wouldn't word it like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just really weird. But he admitted that he was the one who tweeted it the next day. So at first I was thinking like he got hacked or something.
And then he went at, I'm blanking on her name. Tara Sloan.
Yeah.
He like went at her on Twitter for like, I guess she liked a tweet responding to that. But like, she didn't like retweeted him or anything.
She liked a tweet that was like criticizing his tweet.
Yeah, and then he like called her out on that, which is like next level pettiness to like go through the likes of a tweet that somebody's tweeting.
Do you know
at
what
you.
hour of the day he tweeted that?
No, I don't. It was like early morning, I think.
Do you think he was like maybe still a little? Like,
maybe
he had a night. Like if that actually happened to him, then that guy could like that's obviously a ridiculous.
Obviously that
thing.
shouldn't happen, but I also don't think if you're sitting in a bar, I don't think that story happened exactly the way he said it happened. I don't think he was just sitting there like me and you just having a conversation. And he went, "Oh, I would vote for Trump if I had the option."
Someone just came up and knocked.
No, I don't think that's. I think he was probably
definitely not. That
just
doesn't make
just a
sense.
guess. I think he might have been being a little bit more forthright about his opinions.
Like being like a little more antagonistic.
Yeah, I think there was a certain amount of antagonizing that was going on if this went down.
Yeah.
Because we really don't even know what exactly happened, but he's apologized for it, and he's. Yeah.
But then he also said in the apology, like, for the record, I have no intentions or like would I. Well, first of all, he's not even a U.S.
Canadian,
citizen,
yeah,
so he can't vote. But he said, in his apology, he said, I'm not.
I think
a Trump
he might
supporter.
actually be a dual citizen.
Which kind of speaks towards the.
Apparently he's not. Apparently
the
he's
end.
not.
No.
No. Yeah.
To me, that kind of lends itself to the the antagonizing a little bit too, where he's like, just so you know, I wouldn't actually vote for Trump. I was just like. Stirring the pot in a bar. That's like basically what he just said with that.
So you deserve it.
So he probably
he doesn't.
Well, yeah, I mean,
maybe he does.
If you're antagonizing people,
fair enough.
And you're getting people riled up, like you're the cause of people getting riled up. So you suffer the consequences.
Well, I don't think anyone I don't.
You don't deserve to get punched, but like deal with you're an adult. Deal with the consequences that come at you. If you're gonna say something, like deal with those consequences. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
It was just like a tone.
I think he was just really like something. He obviously got in some sort of situation. He was really emotional about it. Tweeted, and then probably right after he tweeted, he's like, I definitely shouldn't have tweeted this. Like,
usually, if it's questionable, don't tweet it.
Especially for
that's
on that
the rule of thumb.
Just with some of the stuff that's been happening too. Evander Kane's been very outspoken about the.
He was.
Was he?
Logan Couture was like
he
was like huge, like backing up Evander Kane.
Well,
like,
there you go.
He was like one of the like most outspoken NHL players on the Black Lives Matter stuff. So that's why it was like even kind of more weird that he's like going on like rants. Like, it doesn't, like, obviously, again, you shouldn't be punched in the face. If he was literally just sitting there being like, I'm going to vote Republican, and someone punched him in the face, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think there's a lot of ridiculousness going around right now.
Yeah.
Especially with how we talked about earlier, how divisive the politics in the States are right now.
It's
insane.
That was like on Queen Street too, which is.
Do you know, like, where? What
No, that was
that?
just a guess.
Okay, yeah, that was a weird thing. So NFL, we can quickly talk about this. Me and you talked about this a little bit, but
Not fair.
the fans, like some teams are gonna have fans apparently.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is saying they're gonna go half capacity, which is 40,000 people.
In a closed air stadium too. Like
You're like, first of all, you're being selfish from a personal reason because like that's all about just making yourself money. Second of all, you're being selfish and dangerous to the teams that have to come play you because you're now putting every other team that has you on the schedule, you're putting them at more risk than they were willing or their state or their home organization was willing to put themselves at. Now you're almost forcing them.
Well, I would say even the teams that you're gonna go, like, if
in the communities too,
the players, you're probably not gonna, like, the fans are gonna get close enough to the players, but like if someone working at the stadium gets it, a stadium worker, and then at Cowboys practice they talk to someone on the team, they get it, and then you go play whoever the next week, like,
yeah, that's how it spreads.
The NFL should almost step in here and say, like, we're not having fans.
Well,
The NFL is the
But
NFL.
they're obviously that's
but
not
they're
going to
not
happen.
though.
I know.
But besides the spreading aspect of it, like, is it fair that, like, if you play in New York and Cuomo says we're not, no team,
Which
he
he already has.
Right.
He said it's official. The Bills, they're the only New York team. So the Bills, they are.
I know.
to the state of New
They
York.
are. So
To be fair, though, I think New Jersey is the same rules.
yeah, but for the first 2 weeks of the season, at least right now, it's official. No fans in I guess Bills Stadium is what they're calling it.
And
now.
there's a bunch of teams that have that
Yeah.
going. Like, I think the Packers are in the same boat.
Bengals did the same thing.
Where, like, they don't even have, like, but the Bills don't even have a choice. Like,
No.
they're
No.
literally.
But
so,
like our in-division rivals, Miami, have been approved for 13,000 fans
Right.
in their stadium. So that's a huge disadvantage. Even though I definitely expect Bills Mafia to take over that stadium. Like
you're gonna go down.
I know it.
Yeah.
Like, I
Well,
know
you're
it.
only allowed but season ticket holders are gonna get first dibs.
Yeah.
So-
But then
and it's
they
only
might
13,000
Yeah,
people.
but then they might sell some. And you never
Yeah.
know. I think we'll find a way. The Bills Mafia will find a way into that stadium. Regardless, though, it is unfair, and I think, like, with Jerry Jones doing this, it's like, yeah, look, Jerry Jones has Roger Goodell by the balls, and it's like, yeah, but he's also been grabbed by he's also controlled by all the other owners, and if every single owner that is not allowed to have fans group together and come at Goodell saying, like, listen, I know you care about revenues, I know you care about every individual team, but there's a collective here that are not able to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And like the owners need to get together and force Goodell's hand, because that's the only way it's going to get done.
Or unless they're just looking at it like
revenue sharing,
or they're just hoping that maybe their state will open up at some point and they're going to be able to take advantage of that.
But it will so say make it a rule that if like there's even one team that
Can't have fans that week.
have fans that week, then nobody has fans.
Yeah, I agree that should be a rule, but the owners aren't going to want to do that.
100%. Well, I mean, the owners that have strict governors and strict states
Right.
will want to do that.
Which again,
Like New York State is
there's not that
it's
many
not
of them.
New York State will not open up the entire season. I know it.
Yeah.
I know it in my heart. In my head, in my heart, I'm like, I want it.
But I think it's fair. Like, I don't think anything is going to be done about this. I just wanted to know if you thought it was like, do you think it's unfair that some teams have crowds and some don't?
Definitely.
Like, especially if it's not just a crowd.
Yeah,
like
I think
40,000 people is like
football is
that's double.
football is
hockey
a fan
really there,
sport
right?
too. Like
Yeah.
like home field advantage matters a lot in football.
Well, it does. Yeah. Like the home
and-
team wins like 60
Yeah.
something percent of the time.
So
in
like,
the NFL.
I think that's the biggest like discrepancy between like home and away games of all four major sports.
This is going to be something that's going to
Just
be a
off
problem.
the top of my head, I don't
think
have
it
the
is.
stats in front of me, but like that,
Yeah.
like
This is going to be a problem for all sports too at some point because
Yeah.
there's no set date for when everything's going to open up,
Yeah.
and it's going to open up.
like
all
Florida-
over.
Yeah, NFL's home team wins
Florida's
60% of the time.
Yeah, Florida's opening up. I mean, like, they're going to have such an advantage, all those Florida Panthers fans.
Yeah.
You know? Like, they're going to have a huge advantage over the Leafs. Just those droves of
No,
Panthers
that's
fans.
like a
that are gonna-
disadvantage for the Leafs that the fans can't go in Florida.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause they have-
Yeah, we'll just take it over the Snowbirds.
Yeah, so I think I don't know. They're obviously gonna go forward with it. Like the NFL is gonna. They have never seen a dollar that they don't want in their pockets. But you want to get into a little soccer?
Yeah, we got a
Our
couple-
resident soccer
the
fan,
soccer expert.
Brandon
We got a
Schroeder.
couple little tidbits here. Lionel Messi was probably, I would say, the most,
I'm actually interested in this.
maybe the
'cause
most recognizable soccer player in the world, if not he's two.
There's rumors that he's
Yeah.
thinking about coming to the MLS.
Kind of.
eventually, right?
So the rumor is he's requested a transfer from Barcelona,
he wants to go to.
which he's been there since he was, I think, 13. He's been playing in their youth system. So
wants to go to the EPL.
he's apparently, this is all just rumors, and soccer rumors are they're unlike rumors in any other sport because it's the biggest sport in the world, and there's so many media outlets covering it that the rumors just I just find there's rumors coming from all over the place that are like
Yeah.
unsubstantiated, but the
Well, I think
rumor
the
this seems pretty legit.
No, the
this
rumor
part.
that he wants to leave is like
That's true,
that's
yeah.
substantiated.
Yeah,
right? It's
that's-
just where he's gonna go. Yeah.
One of the rumors, though, is that he has requested to go to Manchester City, and he's kind of pegged that as his preferred destination. So another report that came out was Manchester City was mulling like a long-term offer to him that would see him play 3 years in England and then move to MLS after those 3 years and play for their they own New York City over there, New York City FC. So the plan would be he would play 3 years in England and then move over to New York, which would be
Huge for the MLS.
yeah.
Huge.
He'd be 36 by that point, I think.
Doesn't
but,
matter.
Yeah.
Though. It's like Beckham. It doesn't matter. You can
Yeah.
be 40. It's just
And he's
like,
way better than Beckham ever was.
right.
Like,
But it's just having like it's just the celeb status
Mm-hmm.
of it makes it. That seems to be like the MLS's game plan is just like once these legends get over the hill, we'll just bring
seniors
them in.
tour.
so they've gotten away
I
from
wouldn't
that.
like. I bet you like Ronaldo ends up at the MLS at
Yeah,
some point.
they've
Yeah,
kind
well,
of-
like
they've gotten away.
Ibra's here.
He's
like,
gone back.
He went
yeah.
back?
But he was. Yeah.
He was here.
They've
Thierry Henry.
yeah. They've gotten away from that though in like recent times where they've taken more like mid-level guys in their prime as
Yeah.
opposed to the stars that are done.
But that's still the stars that are done is still not a bad move for them.
No, it's not.
Like it's
No,
gonna
but they've
increase fan interest.
Yeah.
Even if you have an over the hill Lionel Messi.
that has helped them get to where they are now, where they can get guys like Michael Bradley came over. I think he was 27 years old in like the prime of his career playing in Serie A.
But
in
he's
Italy.
not,
He's
like-
American, obviously.
And
But
he was star level is not even close to these other.
no, he
guys.
wasn't star level, but he was a good
Yeah,
player
like,
on a
he's-
team in
yeah.
the top league in Italy, right? And then he came here in his prime. So there's been a lot of things like that where guys have started, and the league is just a bit different than it was when it was the retirement circuit, but they still obviously are open to that. And Messi would be the most significant player to ever play in the league too.
Do you think this is getting into like a way bigger topic? But I don't follow soccer that much. Like you follow it more than me. Do you think it's like out of the question that like, we see a day where like the MLS is on par with the leagues, the European leagues?
Out of question.
I think it's well, it depends.
Like I'm
on,
talking even like 40, 50 years down the line.
It depends on like what you like it'll be on par. It's not going to be on par with like the Bundesliga or like.
But
the
it'd be
EPL.
on par with like the Dutch league.
Yeah,
or,
it could
like,
probably get to that level.
like
And, like
even
the
French,
Dutch league is
the
like
French league is like they have like Paris Saint-Germain.
yeah,
they don't really have
pretty
anything
good.
else after
Yeah,
that, though.
Lyon and like
Yeah.
they're like I don't think it'll get to that level, but it could be like a second tier league. I think like
Yeah.
the Dutch league is more of a development league, but because guys get
Well, like Ajax is usually good. Aren't
yeah,
they?
but they're like all their guys are like 22 for the
Right.
most part.
So they just get good and then
they leave.
they
yeah.
go to like the Bundesliga or
Yeah.
the EPL.
So yeah, like I don't think that's out of the question, but it's grown leaps and bounds. Even like from when I started paying attention, like
Yeah.
when Beckham was there, like it's just gone so much more competitive. I think they're up to like 26 teams too in the league, which is pretty
good.
crazy to think about.
One
But
of the games I've only been to one, but like TFC games are like
They're fun.
yeah.
Another thing too is Ronaldo's apparently requested a transfer too, so we could see the two biggest soccer players maybe ever leave in the same year.
He's
Or-
already done with.
Yeah, I
like,
can't
he's
remember-
like-
I don't remember if
he's
he-
been there for like
A year, 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think if he requested a transfer or if
He's on Juventus, right?
yeah, or if Juve just wants to get out from that contract now.
Yeah.
So there's rumors that he could be on the move too, and that would like just to see the two biggest soccer players maybe ever get transferred in the same year would be pretty.
It'd be cool if they both went to the EPL.
Yeah, or both went to the same team.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen.
That's like that's a soccer thing, though.
Yeah.
Just load up this one team.
Boo.
Speaking of stacked teams and the Bundesliga, Canadian, some CanCon.
Yeah, we talked about this a bit last week. Alphonso Davies and Bayern Munich won the Champions League. So Davies became the first Canadian player ever to win, or first Canadian international to win Champions League. So pretty significant stuff there for Canadian soccer.
Yeah, he's only 19 years old.
Yep.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
I'm actually I wasn't really thinking about it, but now after we had that discussion last week, I actually am excited about the World Cup. Like, well, 2022 we'll see, but then 2026 when we're gonna have both those guys should be in their primes.
Yeah.
And it's
Along
gonna be-
with some of the other guys that are coming too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's.
Like I love watching the World Cup, and I've never even thought about it from like a perspective of actually having a team to root for, like a home country to root for.
We've never had it.
You know, because it's never even been like
Yeah.
in the realm of possibility. Well, they made it in like the 80s,
Yeah.
and like,
I'm
didn't
always
score
like,
a goal.
I'm always like, I'm always on England and Sweden. My
Your
my
heritage.
cultural heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it'd be nice to have a little bit of patriotism and cheer for Canada. So Alphonso, get it done, buddy.
Hypothetical.
Yeah, so the hypothetical, we talked about it kind of earlier, but if you could switch up any playoff format to whatever format you thought would be better, what would it be and why? I guess.
You want me to go first? Okay, I'm worried I'm going to step on some toes here, but I think
Whatever. If we have the same, we have the same. It
the
doesn't matter.
one I would do the most would be baseball and kind of do what they've done now with the
You just expand it.
towards the 8 teams in each conference, because it's just so much better when teams are in it longer. Mm-hmm. I know baseball purists are going to argue that it's making the playoffs in baseball is an accomplishment, but I don't like that attitude where it's like winning should be the accomplishment. Just getting there is not like.
So
You know what I mean?
You
It
would
just
just
seems-
go like 1 through 8 in both.
Yeah, 1 through 8 both leagues. Yeah, and then just do like the classic, obviously best of 7, 4 series, 16 wins.
1 through 8. Yeah, 1 through 8.
Yep.
Okay.
See, I agree with expanding it. The only thing I would maybe
divisions?
no, I would look at maybe more of an NFL form, because the only problem is baseball, like the NHL, is it's pretty random. Like any team can beat any team. It may maybe a little bit less. I think it's probably on par. Like I think there's a lot of upsets, and it's 100. If you're doing a 162 game season, there's got to be a significant reward. So I would still do 2 bye teams, and then do like best of 5.
So do 6 get in?
Yeah, like do the NFL. That's
could do that,
I think
so-
that would make the
Division winners
you'd
and 3
appease
wild cards.
the baseball purists, and you'd still be able to expand the playoffs. Because I think it's too random if you're going to do a 162 game season, it's too random to have the potential of a 1 seed getting knocked out by an 8 seed. I don't know. Like a team that like isn't even 500, and they like the Dodgers win 120
But like if
games
the
and they
Jays are
lose.
going, like I think if the playoffs started today, the Jays would be playing. I think it's Oakland.
Well, this is a crazy year.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm okay with it this year. Like this year's already insane.
Okay. You want me to go next?
I can go.
Okay, you can go.
So I would do. I'm gonna go NBA, and I'm just gonna just scrap the conferences. Just 1 through 16.
Cool. I don't mind that.
I think even
And then
you could get into
would
a
you
larger
Would you be
discussion.
going 15, 16 play-in games?
Yeah, sure. I like the playing. I think you could
Yeah.
have a couple playing games.
Yeah.
Maybe even like think about your possible rule where it's like if the team went on like some sort of
Yeah.
streak. I think in this day and age, with the way teams can get around the travel, I mean, COVID aside, I think you could straight up like you don't even need to have divisions.
Yeah.
Like just every team plays every team equally. 1 through 16, that'll get, because they're always the NBA. There's always a conference. It's usually the West. There's always a conference that's better, and you have teams that win like 45 games and they don't make the playoffs, and then you have like the Detroit Pistons who won like 32 and they're a 6 seed. So I like just the straight up 1 through 16. You have the best 16 teams. 1 plays 16. Just do a bracket, like March Madness style bracket from that point on.
The only issue with that is the CBA, like if you're adding miles to like traveling, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to like get that approved by the players, and
Yeah.
maybe you have to play less games.
But I think the players would be on board with just the best teams.
I know,
Making the
but
playoffs.
like if you're opening it up, no conferences, no divisions, and everybody plays each other equally, there will be more travel.
That's true.
So you're gonna have to get that approved by the players. and maybe the compromise is instead of 82 games, there's 76.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's
Like that would I think like because they want to lessen their workload, not add to it.
Like, let's see what I'll read you the matchups, the first round matchups that it would have been if they did that this year. So it would have been the Milwaukee Bucks 1 seed against the 16 seed Memphis Grizzlies. So you would have Ja Morant in there going up against Giannis.
Cool.
Toronto Raptors would have been the 2 seed, would have been going up against Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers. That would have been exciting. We would have been getting primetime games probably instead of the afternoon slot. Number 3 seed Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James would have been going up against the Brooklyn Nets, so that would have been a drubbing. If KD and Kyrie came back, that would have been exciting. Number 4 seed would have been the Clippers. They would have been playing the Dallas Mavericks. You would have the same matchup, which has been a good matchup.
Yeah, great matchup.
What do we at? 5. Boston Celtics would have been going up against the Philadelphia 76ers, another repeat matchup that already happened. 6 seed would have been the Denver Nuggets. They would have been playing the Miami Heat. So that's pretty interesting. 6 and 11. 7, Indiana Pacers would have been the 7 seed. They would have been playing the Utah Jazz. So that would have been another interesting series. Jazz probably would have won. And then you would have the Thunder Rockets 8-9. That would have been another repeat series. And then you just do a bracket from there.
I don't mind that at all.
Yeah. I mean, the Orlando Magic, they get screwed out of that. They don't make the playoffs.
I think if we did this last year when the Raps won the title, I think the Raptors would have played Golden State in the second round, though. Which obviously that's a homer take, but
yeah.
I just dropped my phone.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I thought we were like losing the news.
But
Down
I was getting a call from an important source, and I couldn't interrupt you guys, so I put it down
Woj was
on my
calling
leg.
you?
Yeah, I put it on my
like,
leg.
I got a bomb.
Yeah, I put it.
I
got a
want
Woj
you to
bomb.
know it first.
Yeah, I for anybody that saw it too, like Woj is in my phone under mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You don't want people to know the bombs.
exactly. Yeah, it's almost like a side piece being underneath Pizza Hut.
Can I throw Can I throw an honorable mention out there? This is like a pie in the sky theory. I thought about this before. I know Pierce would hate this. I think there should be like a 32 team single elimination tournament for the Memorial Cup. Just do the math. You'd have to make the math work. But
Oh, dude, I would love that.
Yeah, like-
that would be. They would hate. Everyone would.
oh
hate
yeah,
it.
they'd hate it.
I
yeah.
would love it.
Like even like single elimination hockey, people
Yeah.
would lose.
Like
their
I would,
minds.
because I don't really care about the Memorial
But like just
Cup.
think
I would
of
watch.
I
for
love
like
the Memorial
for
Cup.
like 2 weeks. Just you
Yeah.
have 32.
How many teams are there? Each
So
league
there's-
has like 20,
So there's 18 in the Quebec League,
Brandon,
22 in the
I love
WHL,
that
and 20
idea
in the
a lot.
OHL.
22 in the dub,
There's 60 teams total.
60 teams total.
And would you do a committee like almost like an NCAA?
You could do this. So you could do.
Or would you have like a?
Do you think there's a way you could find?
You could do the OHL playoffs still, and then that's how you determine the 10 teams.
What
that
if
are
you
seeded.
just-
Then again, you're making kids that aren't getting paid or are getting paid very little play way more hockey potentially.
You think it is way more hockey?
Yeah, if you're I
No.
because they do the
it'd be
OHL
less.
playoffs anyways, and then go to the
no,
Memorial
but that's
Cup.
but the Memorial Cup would be way less games than a 32 a potential
You think
30.
it'd probably work out to be the same because they play series in the
How
in
many
the Memorial
rounds
Cup,
would
right?
32 be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess 5.
Like a
Five.
lot of
It's
a lot of
five
teams
games.
would just
Yeah,
be
it would be the
half,
same. Yeah, it would be
half
the
the
same.
teams
Never
would be
mind.
playing one game.
Yeah, never mind.
Would you?
I mean,
do
yeah, I guess you
Do you
could
think
do
there's
that.
a way to find 4 other teams and like just do a
Yes, expand.
64?
Yeah, take 4 like I don't know, like take like college teams maybe.
Or just
that's
expand.
unfair.
No,
Obviously,
no,
that's
no.
unfair.
Expand.
Or like junior A teams.
Expand.
Like you could expand, yeah. But I don't know. I think-
32. I
don't
like
know-
32.
I don't know if junior hockey's gonna have the money to expand in the especially the way they are now.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love that idea, but I'm gonna branch off. I'm gonna go with hockey, NHL. I know their idea with the wild card and like the divisions and all that. They're trying to build rivalries, but I think hockey rivalries happen organically anyways. I don't think you can force it. The Boston-Toronto rivalry was already there. We didn't need 4 more series for it to be there. It was already there, and I think it adds a little bit of like it adds to like making it 1 through 8 again. That's what my
Yeah.
like in each conference 1 through 8. Get rid of the wild cards. It usually works out anyways that those are the 8 teams. It's just differently seeded. Like pretty much every year, like the 8 teams, the 8 best teams in each conference make it anyways. But then it's just always seeded towards like divisional, and you never get different matchups.
Well, and the problem is
first-
if the 3 best teams in the conference are in the same division, they get screwed over in the playoffs.
Exactly. But I'm gonna add to that as well. Something that I hate is the phantom point.
Like the overtime loss.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think the best way to
I
do
agree
that
with
is
that
you make wins worth 3 points. And then an
Yeah.
overtime win, you have the potential to get 2 points. But a regulation win should be worth more than an overtime win,
but
in my opinion.
Do you still give out a point for an overtime loss there?
Yeah.
In that
So you
scenario?
go, you go 3.
There's always 3 points available.
There's always 3 points available.
Yeah, I agree with that.
At all times. So you're not getting those random points where Boston or one of those teams has like 20 overtime losses, but they.
So wait, a win is just 3?
Win would be a regulation win's 3, an overtime win is 2, and an overtime loss is 1.
Think of the.
So you're always giving out.
Scrap the shootout, and you go 4-on-4.
But you're
until
always
someone scores.
But that's not. I'm talking points.
Yeah, but then you just give them 2 points. They won, and you just take away that.
I know,
extra
but
point.
so no points for
no shootouts.
No points for
And
an overtime
if you
loss.
lose the game, you don't get a point.
That's another way to look at it.
Yeah.
But I think
think
they're trying to reward. They're trying to reward getting to overtime.
Plus, like when you
With
I
the
don't
1
like
point,
that, though.
but
it's a
but
defeatist mindset.
It is.
Sure, but it also gets scrapped anyways if 3 points are always on the table regardless.
and like
So-
if you think about
No,
this,
because you could be like, well, there's still gonna be teams like, let's just get to overtime, we get a point.
yeah, you get a point,
But-
you're getting 2 less points than instead of 1
Yeah.
less point than you could have also
Especially if you're
got.
playing
So
a-
like
if you're
the
playing-
like it works both ways.
and if you're playing a team that you're like in a race with, the swing is huge from either only
Yeah.
gaining a point on them
Yeah.
to gaining 3
I
points
still like
on them.
if
Yeah,
you
like that.
lose the game, you get nothing.
Yeah, that's either way
Sure,
works, I guess. Like they're similar.
But I'm more towards like what Brandon was describing. I like the 3.
that-
International
that,
hockey does
uh,
that. International
yeah.
hockey does the 3 points for a win.
That decreases parity, though. The extra point is like the reason why it's always bunched up in the NHL. Like,
well, yeah, for the standings.
I like, I'm fine with that though.
But yeah, I have no. I don't like seeing a team with like 15 playoff losses and it gets them into the playoffs.
They've tried to
or like overtime losses.
They've tried to differentiate a little bit on that, where they've like taken out shootout wins and
I just
like
think
from the tiebreakers. But
I
it's
just
like,
think the 3-point system would work a lot better, and it's more fair.
and they don't want to do it too because of the records. But like, who cares? Like, because the points records.
Yeah, like,
but like just
there's eras in hockey. Everybody knows the eras, and they take it accordingly.
and then like wins are a more meaningful record
Do
too.
you
I
not
think, right?
that like 4-on-4 they score quick enough that you don't need
3-on-3, you mean?
or 3-on-3?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But the problem again is like we were talking about with the OHL is going to be the CBA. They're not going to want to like because you have the potential for a game to go on for like 4 overtimes, which I don't think that would happen.
3-on-3, I don't think you.
I don't think
But
it would
no,
either. but-
you do have the potential.
Like-
it's just
Yeah.
not likely.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyways, that's what
That's the argument the PA would
yeah.
make.
That's my whole take. I want to go back to 1 through 8. I want to get some different playoff matchups going. I don't want one division that's dominant to get screwed as usual, which happens like not like this year. It was like or like 2 years ago. It was like the Central Division had like the top 4 or the Metro.
yeah.
The Metro had like 4 of the top 6 teams in the East.
I
And it
was
like,
on
and
the.
then they got screwed because like Pittsburgh, Washington had to play in the second round no matter what.
When they made that change, I was like for it because I thought that it would. I was like big on like they would increase rivalries, but I think I agree with you. Like
Rivalries
they're gonna
happen.
happen anyways.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna happen.
Yeah.
If you just like, yeah, they'll happen regardless. It doesn't have to be like a forced.
You don't,
thing.
don't force like it should be organic.
Yeah.
A rivalry.
Another thing I like too, I would get rid of the bracket that they have, and I would just reseed every round, which they used to do. Because for I don't
mind
know
that.
the bracket, like for whatever, and the NBA does it too. It drives me nuts.
They
for
like
whatever
doing
reason.
they like doing the online
Exactly,
bracket
that's
challenges. is
exactly
what
why
like
they
to
do it.
You think
Yeah.
you think NBA should reseed? I don't know. I kind of like the bracket.
Yeah, I think I would rather them reseed just
Yeah.
because it's more fair and it's like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
you could have the 6th seed playing the 8th seed. Like that would never happen.
Just the
but-
way the bracket
yeah.
works. yeah.
Well,
and
yeah,
like the
so-
2nd seed playing, or I guess the
They're the only sport
second
that doesn't
seed playing like
reseed.
the 4 seed.
They're the only sport that doesn't reseed, like out of the big 4.
The NHL doesn't now.
Right.
They used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they reseed. Yeah, I guess they.
No, they don't. It's a bracket.
Yeah. But they only have 4 teams.
Yeah.
In, like that one thing. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's our hypothetical of the week. Again, if you're looking for sports news and some players are on strike, come to Name on the Front with Brandon, Aaron, and Mike.